Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today you are going to watch what if Naruto is the son of Kyuubi and nephew of Kami. And I hope if you like the video, please subscribe my channel. And without further ado, let's go to the video.
The figure screamed out with fresh tears streaking down its face. "I'm not going to let you die. If you die I'll revive you and kill you again." The figure screamed as it got off of its knees and picked up Naruto bridal style. Shun shining to the hospital in a frantic state started screaming for the medical staff. "Doctors, nurses, please hurry," the figure screamed. "Anko-san? What are you doing here?" The old Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen asked. Looking down to the bloody broken mess in her arms he got his answer. "Doctors, get the hell in here now," Sarutobi yelled out with authority. Doctors and nurses came rushing into the lobby. "Yes, Hokage-sama? What is it we can help you with?" a lead doctor asked. Spotting the broken body in Anko's arms, he got looked on with distaste, thinking they should just let the demon boy die. "What the hell do you think we need?" Anko screamed out with rage. "Shut up, snake bitch," the doctor replied with disdain and disgust in his voice. Anko shot back a glare and was about to retort until the Hokage released just enough ki to get everybody's attention. "You treat Naruto now, and if I ever hear you speak to one of my shinobi like that again I'll have you kicked out of this hospital. Is that understood?" Sarutobi asked. The doctor reluctantly nodded and led Anko to a room where they could observe and treat Naruto. Sarutobi followed with a sad gleam in his eyes. "Oh, Naruto, what did they do to you now?" Sarutobi asked himself in thought. Anko looked down with absolute fear at the boy she had come to admire. "All of that talk about being Hokage one day better not have been a bunch of crap, Naruto. If you die on me I really will find a way to revive you and kill you again," Anko whispered to Naruto, smiling when she saw Naruto slightly move his head in what appeared to a nod as if understanding her statement. Anko and Sarutobi entered the room, and upon entering Anko sat Naruto down and let the doctor take a look. Looking at the door, Anko could see a team of nurses walking in with bags of medic wrap and a bag of blood for Naruto, as he had lost quite a bit. "Please, Naruto, just please be alright," Anko thought to herself as she and the Hokage took a seat in the room and waited for the doctors to be done. Right after Naruto passed out, Naruto awoke to a drip. "Wow, is that annoying?" Naruto spoke aloud. Looking around from his sitting position he noticed he didn't have any injuries to his body. Examining his environment he also noticed he was in what appeared to be in a very dank sewer with a leak as there was water on the ground. "What is going on?" Naruto asked himself. Getting up and looking down both directions in the hallway he was in, Naruto felt a tug coming from the left direction and headed down the hall. "What is this place?" Naruto asked himself another question. Walking to where he felt like he was being tugged, he abruptly came to a stop when the hall he was following opened up into a huge room. The room had what appeared to be a jail cell, starting in the middle of the room heading all the way to the back of the room. "Excuse me, is anybody there?" Naruto asked out loud, hoping to get an answer. Walking closer to the jail cell he heard what appeared to be chuckling. "Excuse me, I hear laughing. It's polite to answer a question when asked," Naruto stated as he peered into the vast darkness of the cave. Naruto gasped as he saw two glowing slitted red eyes staring at him with what almost appeared to be a fatherly concern shining through them. "Hello kid, so we can finally make contact? About damn time," this mysterious creature stated. On closer inspection Naruto saw what appeared to be a fox with 9 tails swaying peacefully behind him. You're the KK Kyuubi," Naruto managed to get out. The Kyuubi smiled, showing its razor-sharp teeth, which sent Naruto on edge a little bit. "I knew you way smarter than you act, so why do you act like an idiot and kid it Toussaint to you?" Kyuubi replied with a smile that somehow managed to be filled with love. "What?" is all Naruto could get out. Kyuubi smiled again at the confused face of Naruto. "Ah, I could see how this would be hard to take in, so let me help you understand. I'm the Kyuubi, okay? You can call me Toussaint. There, understand it any better?" Kyuubi asked with a smile. Naruto looked at the fox like it was stupid. "Yeah, thanks, that helped a lot, but if you're my Toussaint does that really mean I'm a demon?" Naruto asked sadly. The Kyuubi gave a chuckle. "Oh no Naruto, that won't happen for another 15 or 20 years. Kyuubi replied. "What won't happen for another 15 or 20 years? Naruto asked. "Alright, Naruto, I'm going to stop messing around and tell you most of what I know. First off, I'm the Kyuubi and you are my adopted son. Secondly, I am sealed inside of you, that is why the villagers torment you. Any question, as I'm guessing you have a lot? The kyuubi asked. Naruto nodded his head. Yes, Two-san. Why did you adopt me and why are you sealed within me? Naruto asked curiously. Well, Naruto, that goes back to your mother. You see, I was sealed within your mother many years ago. She and I actually became very good friends. I taught her a lot of what she knew about being a ninja. I told her of my mate and kit that were waiting for me to return to them, and after many years she released me from her seal. I couldn't believe it and thanked her, vowing I would do anything to repay her. Your mother, Kushina Uzumaki, wanted me to look after you if anything ever happened to her or your father. I made a blood pledge that I would look after you when you needed me. After saying goodbye to your mother, I went to find my mate and kit. I found blood stains and the scent of tainted snake. This scent belongs to one of Konoha's ninja from many years ago. I stormed into your village looking for the ninja, hoping to kill him, but your village's shinobi saw me as a threat and attacked me. I do see how they could see me as a threat, and I don't blame them for attacking me. I mean, I'm a 20-story high fox and the most powerful biju or demon in the world. Getting back on topic, once I was attacked, I lost myself to my sorrow and hatred for that man that attacked my mate and kid, and I became enraged. Once a demon becomes enraged, it's almost impossible to calm it down. Anyways, long story short, I was sealed inside of you by your father. The fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, was your father. Naruto, I'm truly sorry for everything that has happened to you because of me, but if you would give me the chance, I would like to be there for you, and if you would allow me be your Two-san. The kyuubi stated, a loving smile. Naruto took a couple minutes to think over all of the new information. So, you're telling me that my mother was your last container and that she set you free? Then my real father sealed you inside of me. Plus my real father was the fourth Hokage, and your reason for attacking Konoha was because a Konoha shinobi attacked and killed your mate and kit? You'll have to excuse me if I don't believe all of this. Naruto apologized sarcastically. Naruto, you will listen to me now. I gave up a full tale of my power for you the night I attacked Konoha. The least you could do is at least try to hear me out. The kyuubi yelled. Naruto peered back into the cage to see 9 swishing crimson tails. Excuse me kyuubi, but I see 9 tails. Naruto stated his observation. Naruto, I made a deal with an old friend of my mind, Shinigami. He allowed me to give up a tail of my power to do something for you. I can't tell you what I did, only that I think you will surely know that I care for you once it is revealed. As for the reason I have 9 tails again is simple. I have been working my ass off for the past 5 years, 11 months and 12 days. Kyuubi stated with a huff. Naruto looked at Kyuubi with confusion. Naruto, the day I was sealed within you, I contacted the Shinigami, the death god. He allowed me to do something for you, but it took 1 tail or my power. Not being one to get beaten by others, I have worked almost all day every day to return my last tail. I finally got it just a couple days ago. It was a bitch to get, as I had to make another deal with the Shinigami. This one was for you though. The kyuubi said with a smirk, looking at the shock and confusion clear on Naruto's face. What the hell? Why did you make a deal with the Shinigami for me? Naruto yelled out furiously. You will watch your mouth, kid. Just because I'm a demon doesn't mean we like our kids cursing. The kyuubi replied in a fatherly tone. Naruto looked down meekly. Kyuubi, please stop calling me kid. I don't have a family and I'm pretty sure you are just trying to use me. Naruto said with his head down. Naruto, I wouldn't ever go back on my word. I made a blood oath, something that demons cannot break. Even if I could, I wouldn't. I have grown to care for you like my own kid. Your mother would kill me if I didn't take care of you anyways. Kyuubi stated in a very loving tone, very creepy considering he's a demon. Naruto looked up. Kyuubi, you're telling me that I'm the son of the fourth Hokage. The fourth sealed the most powerful biju in the world in me, and that you made a deal with the Shinigami on my behalf. Naruto whispered quietly with tears coming down his face. Naruto, I'm truly sorry for everything that has happened to you because of me, but you must know the 2 deals I made with the Shinigami weren't bad. They actually, I think, will make you quite happy. The first was something that cannot be revealed yet. The second, well, you will see right about now. The kyuubi replied with a big smile. Naruto looked at Kyuubi confusedly until he saw Kyuubi eyeing something behind him. Turning around, Naruto saw something that made his heart drop, the Shinigami. Shinigami? Naruto asked in disbelief. The Shinigami nodded and reached up to the dagger in his mouth. Taking the dagger out and reaching up to the back of his head, he pulled down, taking his face off. Man, is it good to be out of that mask. Now then, come here Naruto, give your Oji-san a hug. The Shinigami said with his arms out waiting for a hug. Naruto stared in disbelief. There stood a man with long white hair with a ponytail to the middle of his back. He had an athletic body, not bulky but wiry. Hisoka-san, Naruto doesn't believe that I wish to take him in as my son and that I'm truly sorry for everything I have done. The Kyuubi said aloud, drawing attention back to himself. Hisoka looked at Naruto, then at Kyuubi. Oto, I'm disappointed. I thought that you would of all people had him convinced that you truly care for him. Hisoka spoke with disappointment clear in his voice. Kyuubi looked down with a sad nod. Sorry Nichin, but I'm not going to use my manipulative skills to make Naruto believe me. If he wishes to, then I'm fine with that and would gladly take him in as my kid, but it doesn't want me to. It would make me very sad, but I would still train him as I promised my one and only human friend that I would. Kyuubi stated sadly, thinking of when he saw Kushina dead under a collapsed building the night he attacked the village. Naruto looked at both the Shinigami and Kyuubi. Okay, what the hell is going on? Naruto yelled. Kyuubi and Hisoka both looked at Naruto. You will not speak like that in my presence. Do you understand me? Hisoka and Kyuubi yelled out. Naruto looked like he had been scolded by his parents. Alright, Oto, have you told him about his? Hisoka was interrupted. Nichin, be quiet. He must not know until he reaches Genin like we agreed on. The Kyuubi interrupted. Hisoka nodded in understanding. Alright, Kyuubi, what was the deal you made with the Shinigami? Naruto asked. Kyuubi was about to respond, but was cut off by Hisoka. Naruto, you should show your two-san and Oji-san some respect. All Oto wants to do is adopt you as his own and take care of you, and all I want to do is visit my nephew once or twice a week. Hisoka replied. Stop calling him my two-san, and you are not my Oji-san. Shinigami, you are a god and you Kyuubi are the most powerful demon in the world. How can I possibly be your child even if adopted? Naruto asked. Hisoka and Kyuubi looked at Naruto sadly. Naruto, everything Oto has told you is true. His mate and kid were killed by a Konoha shinobi with the help of the boss of the Snake Clan. He made a deal with me for you, and I believe you will be very happy when you finally know what it is, and as for the second deal, it was just for me to be allowed in your mindscape, which is where we are right now, and to speak and see you every so often. I would like to be able to spend some time with my only nephew. Now, getting all of that out of the way. It doesn't matter if what you think right now. You will become very powerful Naruto, and with the help of me and Oto I'm sure that you might even become stronger than me. That is if you accept us as your family. Hisoka explained with a smile. Naruto was shocked now the death god was actually backing up the Kyuubi's story, on top of that Shinigami was actually wanting to become his family. What the hell? I don't know how this could get any weirder. Naruto thought. Excuse me, Shinigami, why do you call him Oto? I mean, you can't be related, can you? And how would I ever be able to become stronger than a death god? Naruto asked curiously. Kyuubi smiled. Well, Naruto, Nichin and I are related. The other tailed beasts, I, and Hisoka are all related in fact. Hisoka is the oldest, I the second. The most powerful is always eldest as he has had more time to increase his power. Though Hisoka over there is the only one to have become a god, it is only giving to those that truly have something that will help the world. This is off topic, but I must say Naruto, you are taking all of this info way better than I expected, and as for your last question, I'll explain that a little later, the Kyuubi said with pride of a father. Well, when you get attacked by villagers for a reason you do not know of, you tend to grow up pretty quickly, and even with how shocking this is, with two very powerful beings wanting to become my two-san and Oji-san, I get over shocked quickly as the villagers always found a new way to inflict pain on me. Naruto explained with a cold gaze. Kyuubi and Hisoka gave sad smiles. So, let me get this straight. I am the son of the fourth Hokage and Kushina Uzumaki. I have the most powerful demon inside of me who cares for me and wants to adopt me as their own, and the Shinigami is my Oji-san. Naruto asked. Kyuubi nodded. Okay. So, two-san, if you cared about me so much, why did you allow me to get all of those beatings? Naruto asked with his cold gaze directed at Kyuubi, actually making the Kyuubi sweat a little. Kyuubi, who had smiled at being called two-san, quickly frowned. Naruto, I am truly sorry, it wasn't until just now that I was able to contact you. Your mother was a seal master and she helped your dad develop it. Your mother made it so that under great emotional strain I would be able to finally make contact with you. I'm sorry I couldn't do it sooner, but no matter how hard I tried I just couldn't get through. Kyuubi replied sadly. Naruto nodded in understanding. Alright, Toussaint, I believe you. If Oja-san, who is the death god, backs up your story, then who am I to not believe you? Anything else that I should know about? Naruto asked. Kyuubi smiled at being called Toussaint and Hisoka smiled at being called Oja-san. Yes, Naruto, I will be training you as will your Oja-san. I'll train you in everything from taijutsu, ninjutsu, genjutsu, fuinjutsu, to forbidden jutsus. You will need all of that if you are to one day take my place as the most powerful demon in the world. I will teach you other very powerful things later when I believe you are ready, until then you do not need to know of them. Kyuubi stated with a huge smile. Naruto looked at Kyuubi in complete disbelief. Toussaint, I might be able to get over something quickly, but how could I take your place? I'm human after all, right? Naruto asked worriedly. Naruto, the seal you have to keeps me trapped is actually taking my chakra and infusing it with yours. You're turning into a Hanyu or a half-demon. This will be completed when you're probably around 12 or 13. Then when you're 22 or so you will become a full demon. That is just how fast my chakra is being transferred. I have no control over it. Kyuubi replied. So, I will really be a demon then, huh? Naruto asked sadly. Yes, Naruto, you will become a demon. Like I said, I can't stop the process even if I wanted to, Kyuubi replied. I will be teaching you some of my techniques, nothing too advanced. Just some long-lost jutsus that were very powerful. Hisoka stated while rubbing his hands together with an evil smirk, thinking of all the chaos that would ensue from Naruto's usage of the jutsus. Kyuubi sighed. Nichin, you shouldn't endanger my son and your nephew with those insane jutsus until he is at least a Hanyu. Hell, most demons have a hard as hell time mastering them. Kyuubi stated, not wanting his newly adopted son to get hurt because of his Nichin's stupidity. Naruto's eyes gleamed. Oja-san, you must teach me those jutsus. I will surpass you both. I will become the most powerful demon in all of the world. Naruto yelled out, making Kyuubi and Hisoka to smile widely. You know, Naruto-kun, you will have to work very hard. With Oto-Uto being sealed inside of you and you taking his chakra means you are going to be blood related to him. Demon chakra is different from normal chakra. Demon chakra that flows continuously through somebody will eventually end up having his genetics changed to a point where it would seem as if he had a third parent. This means that eventually Oto-Uto will truly be like a father. He'll be there for you physically and related to you by blood. Hisoka explained. Cool, I get to be the most powerful demons, Kit, that's awesome. Naruto yelled. Kit, as my child you must learn to be calm, strategic, smart, and above all something I am only known for, kindness. Now I know what you may be thinking. Kindness, what the hell are you talking about, Toussaint? Well, I have helped many villagers and people all around the village until I was sealed within humans. I never found the whole I'm going to kill and eat you thing very appealing, so I went with kindness. I usually am shunned as soon as I revealed who I was, but my kindness is what allowed me to become good friends with your mother. I never want my kid to miss up the chance of having a friendship like I did with Kushina, so you will learn this skill and become very kind to all that show you kindness. I'm not saying be kind to people who want to kill you. Just that if a person shows you any kindness then you should try and be nice back. Kyuubi stated in a fatherly tone. You know, Toussaint, that's quite a list, but I want to make you proud. Naruto replied with a huge grin. Kyuubi gave a slight chuckle and nod, while Hisoka was looking at Naruto as if he were contemplating something, and then it looked as if he made up his mind. Oto-Uto, give me your summoning scroll. Hisoka demanded. Nichin, why do you want my summoning scroll? Nobody has ever been signed on it. Kyuubi asked, then saw Hisoka looking at him like he was dumb and the thought hit him. Wow, I'm dumb. I should have thought of that myself. Kyuubi stated, embarrassed. Toussaint, what are you talking about? Naruto asked. Well, Naruto-kun, you see, your Toussaint has a summoning contract. A summoning contract is where a person signs the contract and becomes allies with the clan's contract he signed. I and your Toussaint have never had a summoner before. I personally do not trust anybody with the power of signing my contract. If somebody signed my contract, then they would gain some of my skills, like they would be able to seal souls into scrolls and give them to me for, let's say, a resurrection of somebody, or maybe the person would get enough souls to ask for a weapon that shouldn't be giving to any human unless I completely trust them, and let's just say that I don't trust too many humans. None to be exact. I usually find them annoying as all hell. Hisoka stated as he walked up to the cage and grabbed the summoning contract from one of the tails from Kyuubi and started to walk towards Naruto. So, then Oji-san, what am I annoying? Stupid? Which one would you pick? Naruto asked. Hisoka smirked at this. Actually, Naruto-kun, you are the only human other than your mother that I respect. Your mother had a very hard life, her village was destroyed, her clan all but massacred, and yet she moved on to become a very respected and feared shinobi. She had the power to move on and still not be stopped on her journey to become a protector of the village she grew to love. You, Naruto-kun, earned even more respect than your mother from me. You can understand and quickly analyze situations. You have been attacked and hurt more than most ninja that live to till they die of old age, and you always somehow seem to get back and fight even harder. I just don't get you, but maybe that fierce determination and perseverance is making me consider something I have never considered before. I shall not right now, you will have to wait, but you shall sign the Demon Fox summoning contract. Hisoka said as he walked up and placed the scroll on the ground, then proceeded to open it. Naruto looked down at the summoning contract, excited but very scared. "To-san, what happens if the foxes dislike me?" Naruto asked. Kyuubi laughed at the question. Naruto-kun, you are exactly what the ideal fox is. Foxes aren't very smart out of battle, but when in a battle they cannot be matched for strategy and cunning. They love playing pranks and messing with people, but they are all truly nice and would do anything for you if they were your friends. Now then, I'm sure that the foxes would very much enjoy you, as you are my kid, and on top of that you are a fox at heart. Kyuubi replied. Naruto looked at him confused. "To-san, I thought you were the only fox demon?" Naruto asked, downright confused. Kyuubi gave a grin. "Well, Naruto-kun, not many people know that all of the tailed beasts are actually the boss of their respective races. I am the leader of the foxes, while my youngest brother Shukaku is the boss of the sand raccoons. We all are the most powerful of our races and we are the leaders. Only we are allowed to leave, which ended up with us being sealed as we became too lenient and relaxed when around humans." Kyuubi grinned. "So, you're telling me that each head demon has a village?" Naruto asked. Kyuubi laughed again. "No kid, each demon race has space much like the elemental nations, with the villages being split up into the specific types of each race. For example, I am a mix of a fire and wind kitsune, or fox as the humans call us. My mix is by far the most powerful combination, coming as my elements complement each other. Now I do not know what kind you shall be, but since you are to be my son, I can only guess you will have fire and wind also. Enough of that though, I would you to become the first ever summoner of the Demon Fox clan," Kyuubi stated with fatherly pride. Naruto gave a huge grin. "I will make you proud, To-san," Naruto yelled. Kyuubi smiled. "Kit, I have no doubt of that." Kyuubi thought to himself. "Alright, Naruto-kun, bite your thumb and write your name on the scroll. Then rub blood over each finger and place them on this box below where you signed your name," Hisoka instructed. Naruto bite his thumb, drawing blood, and was just about to sign his name when a thought popped into his head. "Hey To-san, what is your last?" "I wish to sign with my full name," Naruto explained with a smile. This got a smile out of his Oji-san and To-san. "Naruto-kun, my full name is Kyuubi no Kitsune. My race was named after my name Kitsune, and they address me by my last name as it shows they have respect," Kyuubi stated. Naruto smiled and went to work. After finishing his name and finishing his handprint or fingerprint, he picked the scroll and turned to show his To-san. Kyuubi read it aloud. "Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Kyuubi. Alright, now Naruto-kun, you have been out for a couple days and you shall learn the summoning jutsu at a later point. I wish you luck and do not tell any of this to anybody. Understood?" Hisoka asked. Naruto nodded and began to vanish against his will. "To-san, Oji-san, will I see you again?" Naruto asked. "Naruto, now that we have talked for the first time, I will be able to speak with you whenever I like, or you can talk to me whenever you like. The same goes for Nichan over there," Kyuubi explained. Naruto smiled and quickly ran over to Hisoka and gave the death god a hug, which shocked Hisoka, but he quickly returned it. Naruto then ran through the prison and hugged one of his To-san's leg. Kyuubi smiled warmly at this. He began to change. Right before Naruto's astonished eyes stood a man who was 6 feet 4, had red crimson hair in the same fashion as Hisoka. He had warm smile on his face and 9 crimson tails swaying behind him. Naruto felt 2 arms pull him into the hug even more. So this is what having a Two-san is like. I like it. I feel protected, Naruto thought as he faded away. Hospital 2 days after Naruto entered his mindscape. Naruto grunted as he tried to lift himself not from pain, but from something warm and slightly heavier than he was. Naruto looked down to see a girl. She looked to be 12 or 13. She had purple hair in a pineapple hairstyle. She was wearing a brown, tan trench coat with a mesh shirt underneath. She had a short skirt on. The thing that Naruto was entranced by the most was her face. So beautiful, Naruto thought. Hey kid, stop drooling, you're only 5 turning 6 in under a month. I don't want to have to give you the fox and the flame talk. Kyuubi stated. Naruto was shocked. Two-san? Why didn't you tell me that everything would be clearer and I could smell? I don't know how to put it. Just I can smell way better than a normal human should be able to. Naruto asked, clearly not knowing what the fox and the flame talk was. Sorry, but when you signed the contract I pushed some chakra through the cage. Just enough to make you about 1/4 maybe 1/3 demon. Your senses changed to accommodate your kitsune demon blood. The Kyuubi replied with a smile. Wow, Two-san, you know that I would have been afraid of ever hearing I was 1/4 demon. But now I actually can't wait to become a Hanyu and then a full demon. I'm going to become more powerful than you Two-san, so watch out. Naruto yelled in his mind. The Kyuubi smirked and was about to reply when he felt Naruto get hit hard, as he had feeling of Naruto's senses ever since he made contact with him. Naruto was off thinking about this very attractive girl laying next to him with her legs wrapped around him when he felt a fist collide with the back of his head, snapping him out of his daydream. Naruto-kun, I swear that if I ever find you like that again I will personally kill you. Do you understand? This mystery woman Naruto didn't know asked. Then it dawned on him. You're the snake Anbu that always keeps me protected when you're guarding me. Excuse me for this, but why are you so young? I always figured that you were short or something. Naruto asked and earned him another smack. Naruto-kun, you didn't answer my question. Do you understand? Asked a menacing snake Anbu. Naruto nodded his head furiously, almost to the point it was going to snap off. Anko noticed something. It was Naruto's eyes. They were an entrancing blue that she couldn't tear her gaze away from. I'm Anko by the way, and the reason why I am an Anbu is because I am extremely skilled for even if I am young. Anko explained while never tearing her eyes away from Naruto's. So, Anko, would you mind if I called you Chan? Naruto asked. Anko shook her head signifying that she didn't mind, but never took her gaze off of Naruto's eyes. Anko-chan, why are you in my bed and why is the Hokage standing in the doorway smirking and leering with like a pervert? Naruto asked. This caused Anko to break her eye contact away and look around to see the Hokage leaning against the doorway whistling a tune, acting like he didn't notice anything. Anko blushed bright red and got off the bed before anything further could be assumed. Hokage-sama. Anko acknowledged her leader. The Hokage smiled and gave a nod. Naruto-kun, good to see you awake. Can you remember anything about what happened or who did it to you? Sarutobi asked curiously, wanting to make the people who hurt his adopted grandson pay. Well, GGI. Naruto trailed off as he brought his knees up to his chest and wrapped his arms around his legs, rocking back and forth with tears going down his eyes. Anko went to the bed and comforted Naruto, wrapping him tightly in a hug. Go on Naruto-kun, nobody here is going to hurt you. Anko whispered in his ear. Naruto started to convulse violently and screamed out in pain. Naruto clutched his eye as they started to bleed. Anko instantly wrapped him into a tighter embrace and rocked him back and forth. Naruto-kun, please be alright. Anko yelled in thought. The Hokage had appeared near Naruto's bedside. Naruto screamed and threw his head back onto the bed as he finally calmed down. He was glistening with sweat and Anko had not let go, falling back onto the bed with her head on the bed, holding onto the Hokage for dear life. Naruto's hands stopped clutching his eyes as the blood stopped running down from his eyes. As he opened his eyes, everything became so much clearer and weird. He could see normally, but saw blue dots all over Anko's and his Gigi's body. Sarutobi let out a gasp as he saw his eyes. Naruto's eyes were spinning rapidly. There was a single coma in each eye and had veins popping out from the sides leading up to his eyes. Naruto looked at his Gigi and answered his question. I don't know what happened, it's all a blur in my mind. I can't recall anything from that night. Sarutobi nodded as he studied Naruto's eyes. Naruto, you have just awakened a dujutsu I have never seen before. I must get Kakashi and Hiashi in her right away. Naruto, you stay here with Anko until we get back. Sarutobi commanded. Naruto nodded sheepishly as he felt the arms that held him to comfort him tightened even more. Anko-chan. Need air. Naruto somehow managed to get out even without much air. Anko blushed and apologized. Naruto-kun, I'm sorry, I just don't want to see you hurt ever again. Anko said as she held her hug on Naruto. Naruto was shocked. Anko-chan, why do you care for me so much? I mean, yeah, you were there for me whenever I was attacked, but why are you doing this now? I'm not being attacked, I'm fine, and yet you hug onto me like you're clinging to me for life. Naruto stated as he stared at the blushing form of Anko. You know, for a soon-to-be 6-year-old you're pretty perceptive. Anko replied, the reason why I'm clinging to you so much is because, well, you remind me so much of myself. I see the way the villagers look at you with hate and disgust, how they treat you, how they wish you were dead. I'm treated the same way. I just want to make sure that somebody so much like myself, in at least regards to us being hated by the village, is safe. I couldn't live with myself knowing that you had died. Anko replied quietly while looking down. Naruto smiled. I have somebody who cares about me because she knows how hard it is to live a life that like one I'm living. Naruto thought ecstatic to have somebody who truly cares for him, as they knew how it felt to be hated by the village. Anko-chan, I thank you for caring so much, but I promise you that I will not die. I'll live until I fulfill my dream. Naruto stated. Anko looked at him curiously. You're welcome, Naruto-kun, but if I may ask, what is your dream? Naruto was about to reply when he heard his Two-san speak. Kit, you must realize that she likes you. Come on, just flirt with her, I'll help you. Kyuubi yelled, trying to hook his kid up with an attractive young woman. Ah, Arrow Two-san. Naruto yelled, making the Kyuubi laugh. Anko-chan, my dream is to become a very powerful shinobi and to have a large family. I wish to love and take care of my kids like I always wished my partners would. Naruto replied. Many Anko go wide-eyed. Naru-kun wants a big family. I can help him with that. Anko declared in her mind. Naruto-kun, would you like to? When you're older, that is, would you like to go on a date with me? Anko asked hopefully. Naruto was taken back as her question. Kit, I swear if you mess this up I'll give you a training regime that even your Oji-san would have a hard time reviving you. And trust me when I say he will keep you alive until you become the Kyuubi. Kyuubi declared. Naruto gulped. Yes, Anko-chan, I would love to, but I think that I should be quite a bit older. What do you think? Naruto asked. Anko gave a smile. I think you might be right, Naruto-kun, but you better not change. When you get older I expect the cute, lovable, energetic blonde that I have grown to care for. Anko replied as she got up, gave Naruto a kiss on his cheek, causing him to blush. Anko smiled at this and smiled as she left the room. Naruto smiled as he watched her leave and frowned as he saw somebody he hated with everything he had storm into the room and point accusingly at him. You brat, you stole the Hyuga clan's doujutsu. I'll kill you. Hiashi screamed as he launched himself at Naruto. A man Naruto had never seen before flashed between Hiashi and him and stopped Hiashi's attack with a punch to the chest. Hiashi-san, you will restrain yourself. You're lucky that the Hokage wasn't here to see what just happened. The man who Naruto could now see had silver spiky hair said. The man turned to Naruto and looked into his eye. Well, this certainly is new, I've never anything like this before. Hiashi-san, take a look. The silver-haired man backed away. The Hyuga clan head walked up and looked into Naruto's eyes. Shocked, he began to stutter and formed a plan. If I can get the demon brat to marry one of my daughter, then we could get this new dujutsu. Hiashi thought with glee. I must say I have never seen anything like this. Maybe it is a new dujutsu that has never been awakened. Hiashi spoke aloud as the Hokage walked in. The study must wait. I am issuing a training trip for Naruto until he is 12 years old. You leave immediately, Sarutobi stated. Naruto looked around for his clothes. He saw a black shirt with the Uzumaki symbol on the back and went to reach for it. As Naruto grabbed the shirt, he saw a golden nine-tailed fox trailing from his wrist up to his shoulder as he had been shirtless. Naruto was shocked, but figured it as something he got from signing the fox contract, grabbing the shirt and quickly pulling it on to conceal the tattoo he had gotten, reached for what he assumed pants. The pants were black with a crimson Uzumaki symbol on each side. Naruto smiled and jumped out of bed and pulled them on also. "Gigi, who am I going with?" Naruto asked. Sarutobi smirked as he pointed at the silver-haired man standing next to Naruto's hospital bed. "So, then Naruto, you will be training with me for the next 6 years. The Hokage has already informed me of the details. Get dressed, I already have every ready," the silver-haired man stated. Naruto nodded and finished getting dressed and pulled on his sandals. Naruto followed the man along with his Gigi to the village gate, where he saw Anko was waiting for him. As they reached the village gate, he could Anko was crying a little. "Anko-chan, why are you crying?" Naruto asked. Anko looked at him for a bit and smiled. Walking over to Naruto, she got on her knees and gave him a hug. "Naruto-kun, you must promise me you will come back safe and much stronger than when you left." Anko whispered. Naruto nodded. "Then I want you to have this." Anko whispered again as she put a necklace around Naruto's neck. Naruto studied it. The necklace was very beautiful. It was 2 snakes twisting around each other and ending with their heads butted on each other, forming a heart. "That is the only thing I have left of my parents. I want you to have it." Anko whispered. "Anko-chan, I can't take this. It means far too much to you." Naruto whispered back. Anko smiled. "Naruto-kun, promise me that you won't forget me." "Anko-chan, I will never forget you, I promise to you, and when I get back, if you like, we could have our date." Naruto replied with a smile. "I would like that, Naruto-kun." Anko whispered with a huge smile. Anko let go and Naruto walked up to Gigi. "Naruto-kun, I'm doing this for your own good. I can't allow villagers and the village's own shinobi to hurt you. Kakashi, I want Naruto at least low Junin level. Is that understood?" Sarutobi asked. The no-known Kakashi nodded and motioned for Naruto to come along. Naruto did as was told and looked back to wave to his Gigi and Anko. They waved back. Naruto felt sad that he had to leave when things were finally started to get better. "Kit, I want you to try and take the chakra from your eyes out. I'll explain later what your eyes exactly are," Kyuubi stated with barely contained glee. Naruto nodded and focused, trying to remove the chakra from his eyes, and slowly he managed to do so. Taking all of the chakra from his eyes, he noticed that they had traveled for about 20 minutes. "Kakashi-sensei, where are we going?" Naruto asked. "Well, Naruto, we are going to Wave Country. I wish to be far enough away from the village," Kakashi stated. 1 week later, Naruto and Kakashi had been traveling and now were on a very big boat taking them from Fire Country to Wave Country. Kakashi was reading an orange book when he heard a scream. Deciding to check it out, he ran into a bloody Naruto gripped by a man with a kunai in his hand. Naruto looked over with at Kakashi and with a sad look broke off the necklace he was wearing and tossed it to him. "Kakashi-sensei, please, give that to Anko-chan." Naruto managed to get out as there was blood pouring out of his mouth. Kakashi was shocked at this turn of events and just nodded. Kakashi cleared his head and made a move to save Naruto. "You brat. You just had to try and save that lady, didn't you? You didn't have to die, but now you do." The man screamed that was gripping Naruto as he plunged the kunai deep into Naruto's gut and twisted, getting a scream of pain from Naruto. The man laughed and threw Naruto over the side of the boat into the river. "Stupid brat, deserves what he is," as far as the man got when a kunai plunged itself into his head. The man slumped and Kakashi stood there looking over the railing, knowing that Naruto was dead and nothing he could do would bring him back. "Minato-sensei, I'm sorry but I failed you," Kakashi whispered to herself. Kakashi jumped off the boat and using his chakra he stayed up on the water. Taking off at full run would be at the Leaf Village in less than 3 hours. 3 hours later, an exhausted Kakashi came stumbling up to the gates. Izumo and Katetsu, who were pulling gate duty like always, halted him until they saw who exactly it was. "Oh Kakashi, I thought you weren't due back here for another 6 years?" Izumo asked. Kakashi waved him off and shunshined into the Hokage's office. Hiruzen Sarutobi, who had been doing paperwork, looked up to see an exhausted-looking Kakashi Hatake. "Kakashi?" Why are you back in the village? Where is Naruto? Sarutobi asked. Kakashi fell to the ground and started to cry. Sarutobi was shocked. He had never once seen Kakashi cry even when his own teammates had been killed. Kakashi, what is wrong? Sarutobi asked. Naruto is dead. Kakashi screamed out, crying even more with his head on the ground, whispering apologizes to the fourth Hokage. Sarutobi looked shocked to hear those words. What the hell happened? Sarutobi asked, yelled. The window had been opened and Sarutobi could already hear cries of joy. The demon is dead. The demon shall no longer plague us, and on they went. Kakashi, who had slightly calmed down, turned around to see a flustered Anko kick the door open and ran up to the Hokage. Grabbing the Hokage by the front of his robes, she started to cry. Naruto-kun isn't dead, is he? Anko whispered. Sarutobi looked sadly at Kakashi. Kakashi got off the ground and headed towards Anko. Anko-san, Naruto wanted me to give this to you before he died. Kakashi stated as he handed over Anko's necklace she had given to Naruto. Anko broke down and started crying, tears streaming down her face. She ran out of the Hokage's office. Sarutobi looked at Anko running out of the Hokage's office sadly, turning on Kakashi. Kakashi, what the hell happened? Sarutobi yelled again. Kakashi looked at the ground. I was reading my book when I heard screaming. From what I gathered, Naruto tried to stop a man who was attempting to steal something from a woman. The man stabbed Naruto multiple times and then threw him over the edge of the boat. I killed the man right after and came back as fast as I could. Kakashi spoke softly. You're dismissed, Kakashi, stay home for a couple of weeks. Sarutobi ordered. Kakashi simply left to go home and mourn for his student-to-be. With Anko. Anko had ran all the way home crying. This can't be true. It just can't be. Anko yelled. Anko looked down to the necklace that was in her hand and found a small, slightly bloody note stuck between the two snakes. Anko quickly grabbed the note and began reading. Dear Anko-chan, if you are reading this, then I'm dead, but do not worry, as we shall see each other again. Know that I didn't do this to hurt you and do not mourn for me. I will explain everything to you when I return in 6 years. To make sure you understand, I'm alive. Do not ask how or why, and do not show anybody this note. It is only for your eyes. I had to make a chakra seal that only allowed the note to appear when it was in your presence. Know that I am still looking forward to our date. Sincerely, Naruto Uzumaki. Anko was confused as all hell, but if Naruto was alive, that's all she needed. I'm willing to wait for you, Naruto-kun. Anko thought as she laid on her bed mentally exhausted and fell into a deep sleep. Right after Naruto's death. Damn it, Naruto-kun. It has only been a week and you already died. You're lucky I care for you so much, or I would just let you die. Hisoka screamed. Naruto nodded meekly. Nichan, it is necessary for Naruto, or he will never be able to truly train like he needs to be. Kyuubi said, sticking up for his son. Hisoka reluctantly nodded in agreement. That day after Naruto's death, the legendary Toad Sannin himself was standing in the Hokage's office after hearing about his grandson's demise. No, I don't fucking believe it. You lie, sensei. Jiraiya screamed in utter disbelief. Sarutobi looked sadly at his student. Jiraiya, Naruto-kun was like a grandson to me. Why would I lie about something like? Sarutobi asked sadly. Jiraiya was denying everything he had heard up to 5 hours ago. He had got a message from a local contact saying that he was come to the Leaf Village quickly as it pertains to his godson. Upon arriving, he saw waving flags with Naruto's face upon it was, Yaw. The demon is dead, underneath it. Jiraiya Shunshined was scared beyond belief. My god. Son died? That's not even possible. Sure, I wasn't there for him all the time, but I tried to take him with and I helped him whenever I could. No, he can't be dead. Jiraiya thought. No, Naruto-kun is just, he ran away to train in secrecy. Yaw, that's it, he just ran away and survived that save. No, I bet he had that all thing planned out and that dude was just acting. Jiraiya stated, convincing himself that his godson was indeed perfectly fine. Sarutobi looked at Jiraiya as if he was crazy. Jiraiya, you know as well as I do that Kakashi would not lie to us and that he is a damn good shinobi. If he says Naruto-kun is dead, then he must. Sarutobi looked wide-eyed at Jiraiya's clear disrespect. "Shut the hell up, you old bastard. He isn't dead, and if you would have just let me take him with me in the first place, then he wouldn't need to run away to train," Jiraiya yelled with all his might. Sarutobi was about to reply, but Jiraiya beat him to it. "Sensei, don't call me for a mission for at least 4 months. I'm going to go look for my godson," Jiraiya whispered as he dashed out of the office's open window. Sarutobi winced as he saw a single tear on Jiraiya's face. "I wish you luck, Jiraiya, please let him be alive," Sarutobi thought to himself. Random shoreline near Kumogakure no Sato day after Naruto's death. Naruto awoke. Looking around he saw that he was on a shoreline and that it was early morning. His hand going to his stomach thinking about how he had died and realized that the wound was no longer there. "To-san, where am I and why am I not injured?" Naruto asked curiously. "Well, Sochi, I would say we're somewhere in the land of Kumogakure, for the reason why you aren't damaged." "Well, that's because your Oji-san decided to awaken a certain gift you should get only later in your dujutsu's training. As to what it does, I shall answer that later," Kyuubi answered. Naruto looked around at the environment he was at, before what Kyuubi had said registered. "What? How can Oji-san even do that?" Naruto asked. "Sochi, your Oji-san is a god. He can quite honestly do anything he wants, though this is the first time he has done anything for a human. Although you are his nephew, so I would assume he loves you, and that being the reason." Kyuubi answered his son's questions again. "Wow, I'm so lucky. I have the love of my To-san, who is the most powerful demon in the world, and of my Oji-san, who is the death god." Naruto spoke to particularly no one. To-san, what's this gift that he awakened for me, and what is my dujutsu called?" "Oh, and what exactly does my dujutsu do?" Naruto asked excitedly. Kyuubi grinned and just about to answer when he felt a very familiar chakra, or more preciously demonic chakra, near him. "Sochi, didn't I just tell you that I would tell you later? Here I swear to you on my blood that I will reveal everything that I know about your dujutsu. But first you need to go where you feel demonic chakra and talk to the person in which you feel is releasing it." Kyuubi told his son, already a funny fox prank coming into his mind. "Alright To-san, but how do I feel for demonic chakra? Is it that very heavy, almost evil chakra?" Naruto asked. "Yes, it is, Sochi, and go hurry. Find the person who is releasing it and speak with him," commanded Kyuubi. Naruto nodded and got up off the bank in which he was laying on. Running at the source of demonic chakra, he quickly came to find a single man. The man was tan with braided, almost white hair. He was wearing a really weird sleeveless shirt that was white, but with some red along the sides. There was swords galore on his back, while also being very muscular, in which all of his appearance he intimidated Naruto a bit. Cautiously approaching the man, he called out, "Excuse me, may I speak with you?" Naruto asked. The man turned around on guard, ready for any attack even if in his homeland. Seeing that it was a little blonde-haired boy, he let his guard relax a little. "Yo, little boy, you remind of this girl that I know. Expect your boy, yo." The man poorly rapped without any beat or rhythm. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Thanks? I have a question for you though, why are you leaking demonic chakra?" Naruto asked. The man stiffened instantly and withdrew a sword. Wait, this boy, there's something very familiar about him," stated Hachibi while staring intently at the young boy. Then it hit him, whisker marks the demonic chakra that was so familiar to him. "Oh shit, run B. Run for your goddamn life. This boy is not who he appears to be," Hachibi screamed with all his might as he ran around in his cage. B was slightly taken aback at how his friend was acting, but was slightly curious about this boy. "Boy, how do you unleaking demon chakra?" B asked. Naruto smiled brightly. "Well, because of my Biju, he told me to find you and speak with you. For what I don't know, I can feel you have a lot of demonic chakra though," Naruto stated. Kyuubi was laughing so hard tears were falling from his eyes. "Ha ha ha ha. This is so worth explaining everything I can to Naruto about Dojime, I think it means original eye." Hachibi was screaming in B's mind. "B, we're fucked. If he's the kid of who I think he is, we're all dead. Run for the hills, we can't defeat him." Hachibi screamed like a maniac. Now B was getting scared. "Boy, what the hell are you talking about, and who is your Biju? I find it very hard to believe that you have a Biju in you," B asked. Naruto smiled a foxy smirk. Sir, how have you not felt my demonic chakra yet, and my Biju is the most powerful Biju in all of the world? Naruto stated. Now B was freaking out, not because of this kid. Okay, maybe a little from this kid, but mostly because of his friend screaming for him to fucking run and not look back. B was about to do as he commanded without hesitation. Okay kid, my Otouto seems to be really freaking out and I would like it if you could calm him down a little. So tell him to stop acting crazy. Ha ha ha. And that you just wish to go to Kumo for training and to make friends. Ha 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 ha. He is such an idiot. Kyuubi said as he was still laughing at his brother. Kyuubi says that Hachibi should calm down as he would like it if I could go to Kumo and not be stuck out here. I just wish to get some training. Naruto spoke with a very wide smile at the prospect of getting training. Any training is good. Hachibi stopped freaking out. Sigh, thank God he isn't going to kill us. I thought for sure that Nichan was going to hurt me. Since the last I saw him I released pheromones and made his last container and her boyfriend finally just get it over with and seal the deal. Hachibi stated while thinking how dumb he truly was to do that. Why the hell did you do that? B asked. Well, they loved each other, but since he had become the fourth Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato and they weren't going to finally get married, so I said screw and released pheromones when we were near them at the Cage Summit 5 or 6 years ago. Hachibi stated with while sheepishly rubbing the back of his head with a tentacle. Why the hell would you do that? What if the fourth Hokage caught on? He could have killed us. B questioned his friend's sanity. I don't know, I was sick of them beating around the bush and not getting married. Hachibi stated while shrugging his shoulders. B couldn't believe his ears. His baka of a Biju decided to release pheromones in which were directed at the Yondaime of Konoha. Hey, what's your name? B asked. Naruto's eyes lit up. Can I tell him my full name Tusan? Naruto asked. Kyuubi thought about it and didn't see any harm done. Kinda, just leave out Kyuubi. We don't need anybody knowing you are my son yet. Kid, you can tell him, but only because I know Hachibi won't allow him to do anything to you, because who wouldn't want to hurt me? You must always ask or feel like you can trust the person with anything before you tell them you're a namikaze. Do you understand me? Kyuubi asked. Yes, wait, but I want to use your name too, but Tusen I understand. Naruto replied with a sigh. Well, my name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, may I know your name? Naruto answered B's question then asked one. B stood still shocked. This is the Yondaime's son? B thought to himself. Yes, my name is Killer B. You can just call me B though. B stated with a smile. By any chance Naruto, are you the fourth Hokage's son and why do you want to go to Kumo for training? How do we know we can trust? B asked. Kid, you must hurry. I told you that when you were dead your Oji-san activated a power in your dujutsu, but he staved off the pain until exactly 30 minutes after you wake. That's the longest he could stop it, you must hurry now. Kyuubi yelled at Naruto in worry. Oh, it can't be that bad Tusan. You're just worrying over nothing. Naruto replied. Sochi, you will do as I say now. This pain will be like your eyes are being stabbed and your whole body stretched and pulled. So hurry and tell him something convincing before you go through so much pain that you pass out. Kyuubi yelled. Naruto went pale. Oh shit, Naruto thought. Listen B-san. I am almost 6 years old. I have never had any form of training and the reason why I want to be trained in Kumo is because I believe that Konoha wouldn't allow me to train without restrictions. I just want to be able to train to help my village, please 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 please. I'm begging you, just allow me to come to your village and plead my case. If I am denied you may kick me out, but just a warning, I have about 2 minutes until I go through excruciating pain. So if you would be so kind as to carry a fellow Jinchuriki that would be awesome. Naruto replied with a smile. What does he mean they would put restrictions on him? He's a Jinchuriki yes, but he's the Yondaime's son, they should worship his feet. B thought confusedly. Naruto, what do you mean about getting restrictions to your training? You're the Yondaime's son, you should be able to do whatever you want, right? And what's this excruciating pain you're talking about? B asked. Naruto visibly saddened making B feel guilty. B-san, please I'm begging you. Don't bring my father up to your cage, I would really appreciate it if you just wouldn't tell anybody as you are the only other person I have told. As for the reason I would be restricted, let's just say that I'm not much liked in Konoha. I can't tell you the reason for the pain as I don't even truly know why, but just please get me to Kumogakure. Naruto begged B with a couple tears forming in his eyes. B was shocked to see those tears forming in his eyes simply from having to mention the village's dislike of him. What have they done that was so horrible? I mean, I was said glares and so was Yugito, but what could they have done to get such a reaction? B asked himself. B, it is best to do as he asks. I think that this boy has gone through so much more than either of us could believe for a boy of his age. Spoke Hachibi while looking sadly. I can see that this boy has experienced worse than you or Yugito has ever experienced because of your Biju. B nodded and approached Naruto, and just as he was about to comfort the boy, Naruto let out a roar of pain. Ah! Naruto let out a demonic scream as he fell to his knees, both hands over his eyes as he fell unconscious. B was taken back as he saw Naruto's eyes for just a split second. They looked like a mixture between the Sharingan and the Byakugan, and the part of his eye that looked like a Sharingan, another Tomo, was being added. Hachibi didn't know what to say at first. B, get this boy back to the village now. He has the rarest Dujutsu in the world, even less activated than the Rinnegan and more powerful too. Hachibi demanded. I can't believe, after all of these years, that it has been activated, and by such a young boy. Hachibi whispered to himself in absolute disbelief. Hachibi, how is this stronger than the legendary Rinnegan? You told me that the Rinnegan is the most powerful Dujutsu to have ever been activated. B questioned as he picked Naruto up and began running to Kumo. That is exactly right, that is up until now. I can't believe after all of these years, it has finally been awakened. This discovery just proves me right. This boy in your arms has been through so much pain and suffering that he has awakened the most powerful Dujutsu to have ever been spoken of. You see, this Dujutsu is called Doujime and it has never once been awakened. This particular Dujutsu is only known about because the Shinigami himself created it, and Shinigami himself told all of the Biju so that if they ever saw such a Dujutsu they could protect and watch over the wielder. Shinigami said that only one person will be allowed to awaken. But once that person goes through all the anguish, pain, heartbreak, and loneliness that no normal person could survive. The wielder's descendants will be able to activate it. Anyways, back to the original wielder. You must go through this pain, along with almost dying multiple times. You must rise through the pain, through the torture that ensues your life, and find something to live for, something to be strong for. I do not know this child personally, but I can tell that he is far stronger than any normal man should be. I have told you of how all of the Biju and the Shinigami are related. Well, this is a little off topic, but Shinigami Nichin is quite fucked, as you can see, for the requirements of obtaining this Dujutsu. Now back to what I was saying, this boy has been through complete and utter hurt his entire life and bounced back with something to love, something to live for. It also means that this boy will quite honestly be more powerful than even you at the age 12 or 13. There are only 3 options to get spared by this boy's wraith that I can see. First is to kill the boy right now, which I will not allow to happen because I can tell that he important to Kyuubi Nichin if he told the boy to come find us. The second option is that we immediately get your Nichin aid to get a peace treaty with Konoha. Third option, we turn him to a Kumo shinobi. These are the only ways I see us coming out alive. Hachibi stated. B was running full speed and was only 4 hours away from Kumo, as he heard the explanation of the pain Naruto had to go through so he could unlock such a Dujutsu. He pushed more chakra into his legs. Naruto, you been through so much hurt, so much pain. I gonna be there for ya, so don't worry Oto. Nothing gonna be happening to you from now on. I will lay my life on da line for ya. B thought with determination shining through his eyes. Then he realized something. Hachibi, there are many people who have met these requirements. Why has it only showed up once, or is it possible that he is the descendant of the original user? B asked curiously. B, you don't seem to understand. Listen closely, I'll explain to you in greater detail. I'm not talking about your typical pain or isolation. What this child must have endured is complete isolation for many years. Think of how you felt when you got glared at for so many years and multiple that by 30. He must have been tortured and beat by the villagers or shinobi. He got no love, no attention, or at the very best minuscule amounts of it in his life. He must have been close to death's door so many times only to pull himself back with his will. This child is more of a man than most men are. He will stand for what he believes in. He won't give up, even if pushed to the point where he has no power left. He protects his precious people, and he has determination that will say, I'm not giving up, even if I have to kill myself to succeed. This is all assumption of course, it just appears that is how he is from our small talk and how my Nichin has taken such an interest in him. As for if he is the descendant of the original user, I highly doubt that. Since Kushina didn't have the dojutsu and Minato didn't have the dojutsu either. Hachibi explained. Also, if I can remember correctly, Shinigami Nichin told us that he would somehow contact us if there ever was a wielder of such a dojutsu. Now that I think about it, I'm positive that Shinigami Nichin told us that he would contact us. So to answer your question, I'm 100% positive that he is the original wielder. B was now admiring Naruto, anybody who could be put through such tortuous conditions and now only want to train and protect his village was alright with him. It showed loyalty and love for something he cared about, and that was hard to find in such ninja. Most only cared about money and getting stronger, not about their village. Smiling down happy that he would be able to help a fellow Jinchuriki, he raced at full speed toward Kumo. 2 hours later, B was running full speed at the gates with no intention of slowing down. B, you must slow down. They're going to think that you're going to launch an attack against the village. Hachibi pleaded with B. Fine, you're right, he be scaring me with cries of pain, but you is tight so you is right. B rapped as he slowed down to a jog, while Hachibi's sweat dropped. One of the guards who was a censor and could feel B's familiar. Go get the rakeage, he told that he wanted to speak to his brother as soon as he comes back, and I sense he's nearing the village with another massive chakra signature. A Chunin stated to his fellow gate-watching Chunin. The Chunin nodded and took off to the Hokage's tower. Raikage's office. Alright, Yugito, explain yourself. A man almost identical to B stated, expect he was dressed in cage robes. A small 8-year-old girl who had long straight blonde hair and almost slitted black eyes was being scolded by the Raikage. Yugito, what have I told you about taking it upon yourself to do justice to the villagers? If that glare at you and call you demon, you come to me. Is that understood? Raikage asked. Yugito, who had been looking at the ground where she stood, staring intently as if that most interesting thing was happening on the ground, looked up to see the stern gaze of the Raikage. Hi, I'm sorry Toussaint. I was just so sick and tired of the villagers looking at me as if I was a disease. Yugito said sadly. The Raikage's stern gaze softened. Yugito-chan, if you think people are looking at you like that, just come to me. I'm your Toussaint, and I will be damned if some villagers think they can get away with such treatment to my daughter. The Raikage yelled the end of his little speech, making Yugito look up and smile. Yugito ran to her Toussaint and hugged him. Raikage returned the hug. The enjoyable moment between father and daughter was ruined when a Chunin came rushing into the office without knocking. Raikage-sama, your brother B is coming back to the village. The Chunin stated fearfully as he saw the Raikage glaring daggers at him. Well, Yugito-chan, it seems our little moment was ruined. I'll see back home when I'm done talking to Oja-san. Be alright? Raikage asked. Yugito nodded and headed out the door, heading to her home, which just so happened to be the Raikage's mansion. The Raikage turned towards the Chunin. Thank you, you can leave now and go back to your duties. The Raikage stated as he shunshined out of his office to the front gates. Front gates. The Raikage just got to the gates to see a jogging bee come to a stop with a little blonde boy in his arms. Oto, it's good to see you're back. If I may ask, who the hell is that boy in your arms? The Raikage asked. B gave a smile. Well, this is Naruto, and let's go to your office for further discussion. B stated seriously, to which A gave a nod. Oh, B is never serious. I wonder what happened. The Raikage thought to himself. B and the Raikage both shunshined to the Hokage's office. Raikage's office. B and the Raikage appeared in the Hokage's office. The Raikage took a seat at his desk while B placed Naruto in a couch that was right behind the Raikage's desk. B walked back around the desk and took a seat in one of the chairs in front of the Raikage's desk. Okay B, first tell me who the kid is and then report to me on your mission, demanded the Raikage. B nodded and smiled at the kid, who was finally sleeping peacefully, or at least it seemed. Nichin, the kid is Naruto Uzumaki and he asked me to take him to Kumo for shinobi training, stated B. A looked at B, then back at the boy, then back to B, then back to the boy, and finally settled on B. Ha 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 ha, man, that was a good one B, I didn't know you were so funny. A stated while still chuckling. B just kept a serious face. Nichan, I believe we should train the boy. If we do not, I believe he could become a huge threat to us if he didn't have any friends or ties here. B spoke seriously. A stopped laughing abruptly, giving a scrutinizing to B. Did you get hit in the head on your last mission? I can sense that he has massive chakra reserves for his age, but that doesn't mean he'll be an amazing shinobi. Then on top of that, if we did train him, he would become a Kumo shinobi, and if he doesn't want to, we could just kill him. If he is going to be as strong as you think he will be, then I think we should just train and force to become a Kumo shinobi. A stated seriously. B cringed as Hachibi was going off in his mindscape. Who the hell does he think he is? Naruto is going to fulfill a goddamn prophecy that has been foreseen for the last 1000 years. Hachibi screamed in absolute rage. Hachibi, calm down, he doesn't know about Naruto's dujutsu, and what the hell are you talking about prophecy? B asked. Hachibi just shut up and cut the connection in B's mind. B was a little pissed at his friend's actions, but was curious as to what prophecy Hachibi was talking about. Nichan, Naruto, the boy we are talking about, has an extremely powerful dujutsu that has never been activated before. Before B could continue, interrupted him. A suddenly was giddy. Really, he has a powerful dujutsu? Then we should train him, place him as a genin in Kumogakure, and then we should place this Naruto under CRA. It would give us a new powerful dujutsu, and on top of the boy's massive chakra reserves we would have a powerful ninjutsu using clan added to Kumo. On top of that, since he's an Uzumaki, he more than likely has a mind that understands Fuinjutsu extremely easily. Plus it would be great to get an Uzumaki in Kumo, as I haven't heard of any Uzumaki in over 20 years other than Kushina Uzumaki. That woman was goddamn deadly. Stated as he went off thinking about the beautiful, but extremely deadly Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto woke up and started his plan for Naruto. "2-san, what is the CRA?" Naruto asked curiously. Kyuubi was livid. "Well, Sochi, CRA is an acronym for the Clan Restoration Act. It is where you must take on multiple wives and have at least one child with each female as to repopulate a clan, but I will be damned if this village uses you." Kyuubi screamed. Naruto nodded and walked to where was standing, breaking A out of thought and B out of his thought on how to save Naruto. Naruto bowed. "B-san, I thank you for taking me to Kumo, but I will not become a recipient of the CRA unless I wish it so. I'm sorry Raikage-sama, but I will be leaving. I don't wish to become a part of the Kumo shinobi ranks, just wished to be trained by Kumo so I wouldn't be put under restrictions." Naruto stated as he started walking to the door. A and B was shocked, and A did the only thing he could think of at the time. A jumped over his desk and appeared in front of Naruto and went to grab Naruto's front shirt. Naruto reacted with reflexes he didn't even know he had. As A went to grab Naruto's shirt, everything appeared in slow motion and Naruto easily sidestepped A's grab and backflipped away. A stood in place shocked. He just had a brat sidestep his grab and now saw Naruto's dujutsu flaring. "B, I thought you said he had no shinobi training." A yelled as stayed in place so Naruto couldn't leave his office. B was just as stupefied as A was. "Naruto, I thought you said you had no shinobi training." B stated. Naruto turned to B and noticed that he could see a bunch of light blue dots throughout B's figure along with deep blue dots underneath all of the light blue dots. Amazed, Naruto focused more and could see that B's chakra had a slight reddish tint to it. Smiling, Naruto spoke. "I don't have any shinobi training. I was simply reacting, and it seemed as if Raikage-sama was going in slow motion. I just didn't wish to grabbed and sidestepped and backflipped." B understood as he saw Naruto's dujutsu active. "Naruto, do you realize that your dujutsu is activated?" B asked. Naruto shook his head indicating that he didn't. Turning to A, he noticed that his chakra reserves were far less than B's and that hit was just light blue without the hint of red. "Raikage-sama, I would appreciate it if you would allow me to pass. My 2-san and my Oji-san would not like it that you're delaying my leave." Naruto stated. A scoffed. "What is your 2-san and Oji-san going to do to me? I'm the Raikage." A stated arrogantly. "Naruto, I thought that you didn't have any parents? I mean, when you told me of your heritage, both of your parents are dead, so I assumed you were an orphan." B stated bluntly. Naruto gave a sad smile. "True, my actual parents are deceased, but I was adopted and now my genetics are being changed by him every day. He adopted me and my Oji-san gave me a gift since my 2-san couldn't do it." Naruto stated as he took his shirt off and showed B his golden nine-tailed fox tattoo. B didn't really understand, but Hachibi did. Reconnecting their connection, Hachibi began to speak. I swear to you, if it hurts my nephew, I will not allow you any more of my power. After Hachibi spoke, B put the pieces together. Oh shit, B shouted as he got out of his chair and tackled A. Who was completely confused as to why B tackled him, pushed B off and stood up. What the hell was that? A yelled. B blanched. A Nichan, don't do anything to Naruto. I'm sorry that I tackled you, but I overreacted to what Hachibi told me. B stated. A was even more confused. Kyuubi saw how confused A was and decided to enlighten him. Sochi, I'm going to give you an image in your mind of a jutsu I want you to do. It will allow me to speak with A and B. Kyuubi stated as he sent the image. Naruto eyes lit up. Sweet, my first jutsu. Naruto thought happily. Raikage-sama, B-san, my 2-san wishes to speak with you. If you will allow me to do a jutsu and touch your heads, I would be grateful and everything will become much clearer. Naruto stated as he started hand seals at an incredibly fast rate for somebody of no shinobi training. A and B nodded in agreement that they would allow Naruto to use the jutsu. A noticed that a few of the hand seals weren't actual hand seals, or at least as far as he knew. Naruto, you realize that some of those hand seals aren't hand seals at all, correct? A asked. Naruto just continued his hand seals until he finished his jutsu. Demon style. Mind meeting, Naruto yelled out as he reached up to A and B, who had been standing right next to Naruto, and touched their foreheads. Mindscape. A, B, Hachibi, and Naruto all awoke in front of Kyuubi's cage. Where the hell are me? A asked. Raikage-sama, I suggest when you speak in front of my son you do not curse, and if you ever try to grab him again, I will somehow kill you, even if it takes 20 years I will kill you. Do you understand me? Kyuubi asked in his cold, gruff demonic voice as he opened his eyes, showing two huge giant red glowing eyes. A was about to piss himself. A nodded as he looked at Naruto. Naruto, this is your 2-san? A asked, to which Naruto nodded. Okay, then who is your Oji-san? A asked. A voice even more cold than Kyuubi's answered right behind A. That would be A, and I suggest you heed my warning as well as Oto's warning. If you ever try to grab my nephew again, I will pay you a visit personally. The voice stated. A shivered as he turned around to reveal a man with long white hair in a ponytail to the middle of his back and snow-white eyes, as he was wearing a white and black kimono with an obi around his waist. A realized he was talking to a higher being as he could sense power rolling off of the man. A nodded fearfully. Good, Hisoka said. Naruto ran over to said man and enveloped him in a hug. Ah, there's my favorite quarter demon, Hisoka stated as he returned the hug. Naruto laughed as he released the hug and looked up to Hisoka, showing his still active jujutsu. Naruto-kun, I'm sorry that I had to put you through so much pain. It was the simplest way to activate your second level. You still have 4 more levels. Trust me when I say after you activate 1 more level it gets extremely hard to activate the next levels. Hisoka stated as he looked down at his nephew. It's fine, Oji-san. Hisoka, I would like it if you could finally tell me what this is called and what I got with it upgraded. Naruto begged with a puppy dog pout. Hisoka, Hachibi, and Kyuubi all laughed. Oto Kyuubi, you still haven't told him the name? As for your question, Naruto, I'm sure you already realized one of the things you gained with this dujutsu when you saw the Raikage's actions in slow motion. Hisoka stated. Naruto grew wide-eyed. I can see actions in slow motion. Woot! I will be the greatest shinobi or demon ever. Naruto exclaimed happily. Hachibi, who had been watching the interaction, came up to Naruto and Hisoka. Hisoka Nichan, it's so nice to see you again, and apparently I have a nephew, stated Hachibi. Hisoka and Naruto turned and smiled. Naruto saw a man that basically mimicked Hisoka, except he was an inch shorter and with brown hair and a brown kimono. It's good to see you too, Oto Hachibi, Hisoka stated as he shook Hachibi's hand. Naruto just ran into Hachibi and gave him a hug. It's nice to meet you, Oji-san. Hachibi, Naruto said, muffled as Naruto's head was in Hachibi's stomach. Hachibi smiled and returned the hug. Kyuubi Nichan, no hello? Hachibi asked with a smile. Kyuubi transformed into a human male with crimson slitted eyes, red hair that went to his shoulder, and he was wearing a deep red kimono with a golden nine-tailed fox on the side. "Sorry Oto Hachibi, I was just allowing you to have your moment," Kyuubi stated with a warm smile. Releasing the hug, Naruto turned to see his Two-san's human form. Naruto smiled and ran to his Two-san. As soon as Naruto passed the bars, Kyuubi lifted Naruto onto his shoulder to Naruto's absolute joy. "Two-san, you look awesome," Naruto exclaimed with a happy smile. Kyuubi gave a grin. "Why thank you Sochi, as to A and B. Hachibi, Hisoka, and I need to talk to you about Naruto's future." Kyuubi spoke. A and B stood still and gave their utmost attention. Hisoka and Kyuubi explained everything to A, B, and Hachibi. From Naruto's dojutsu to his heritage and why he needs to be trained away from Konoha, and that if they agreed to train Naruto they had Kyuubi's and Hisoka's word that when Naruto became Hokage they would get an immediate treaty if they don't already have it by the time Naruto becomes Hokage. A and B were stunned to say the least. They would get to train a definite Hokage and had a demon's and God's word that they would get a peace treaty if they didn't already have it. For B and A, they were happy enough to be able to train in their eyes the future most powerful shinobi, but A was also hoping he could get a budding romance between Naruto and his adopted daughter Yugito. Naruto was ecstatic. He had finally learned about his dojutsu. He met another of his Oja-sans and he was going to be trained in Kumo. 3 years later, a now almost 9-year-old Naruto was standing at the front gate of Kumo, being wished a safe journey to his next destination from A, B, Yugito, Samui, Karui, and Omoi. "Naruto-kun, do you have to leave? Can't you just stay here?" Yugito asked as Samui and Karui nodded in agreement. Naruto gave a foxy grin that had become his trademark throughout his 3 years of life in Kumo. "Yugito-chan, Samui-chan, and Karui-chan, what have I said about the reason why I need to leave?" Naruto asked. "You said that you needed to leave and continue your training, but why can't you just stay here with us? Don't you like us?" Samui asked sadly as a single tear escaped her eye and came crashing down on her already growing bust. Naruto took a look at Yugito, Samui, and Karui. Yugito was now 5 feet 3. She still had long blonde hair, and her black slitted eyes, with an A-cup bust, creamy skin that didn't have a blemish. Yugito was beautiful in Naruto's mind. Samui was 5 feet 4 with short blonde hair that framed her face, with porcelain skin as well as no scarring or blemishes that were associated with being a shinobi. She had blue eyes, and an already fairly large bust for her age. Naruto estimated she was around low C or high B cup. Samui was beautiful in Naruto's mind as well. Karui was dark-skinned with red hair, amber eyes, creamy skin complexion just as Yugito, and around the same cup breast as Yugito. In all rights Karui was beautiful to Naruto as well. "Yugito-chan, Samui-chan, and Karui-chan, I'll see you all in about 3 years. If all goes planned I'll be in Konoha in the next 3 years and then I'll be able to the Genin exam and then after that I'll take the Chunin exams and I expect to see you all there cheering me on," Naruto stated with a smile as he saw all the girls nod. "GGA, Oja-san B, I'll see you later. GGA, I really would appreciate it if you would try to set up a peace treaty with Konoha. I don't want to have to fight anybody from Kumo. Omoi, try to work on your overdramatic assumptions of things. I'll see you in 3 years, bye," Naruto said as he walked up and gave everybody a hug, saving the girls for last. Hugging Yugito. "Yugito-chan, in case something happens to me, I want you to know I've always valued your friendship and I'm glad that we became such good friends," Naruto whispered and gave Yugito a kiss on the cheek. A and B smiled as Yugito blushed. Moving to hug Samui. "Samui-chan, try to show more of the fun side that you showed me. I'm sure that if you allowed more people into your life they would find you just as amazing as I do," Naruto whispered as he tried to give a kiss to her cheek, but Samui wasn't having it as she gave him a chaste kiss to the lips. Naruto leaned his head back, slightly dazed from the pleasure coursing through his body, and saw that Samui had looked away and was sporting a huge red blush. Yugito was jealous and walked over to Naruto and kissed him on the lips. Naruto was taken back and just stared at Yugito, then at Samui, then at Yugito, then at Samui, and then smiled at both girls. Moving to hug Karui. "Karui-chan, I'm glad that you finally opened up to me after initially punching me whenever you could. You should show your true self to people instead of the facade you put up. I'm going to miss our daily spars," Naruto whispered as he once again tried to kiss Karui on the cheek, but she wasn't having any of it either and kissed Naruto on the lips. Once again leaning back, he smiled as Karui was blushing furiously. "I'll miss all of you. I expect you all at my Chunin exams when I beat everybody," Naruto exclaimed with a smirk and left waving over his shoulder as he walked down the road. Samui, Yugito, and Karui were all watching their secret crush walk away. Samui, Yugito, and Karui all turned to each other and smiled. Heading towards Yugito's house, they began to set up a plan. Catch Naruto-kun. 2 weeks later. "Okay, Toussaint, where should I go now?" Naruto asked. "Sochi, I want you to head to Uzushiogakure no Sato. It's the village in which your clan formed and I want you to see it and find anything that could be useful to you," Kyuubi stated while sending mental directions to Uzushiogakure. "Hi Toussaint," Naruto exclaimed as Naruto set off running full speed to the remains of Uzushiogakure. "Toussaint, I remember you telling me how the land of whirlpools was destroyed, but never told me why my homeland was attacked. Would you mind?" Naruto asked. "Well Sochi, the land of whirlpools was a very powerful foe who was destroyed in the Third Great Shinobi War. The reason why Uzushiogakure was destroyed was because even though the land of whirlpools was extremely strong, they lacked the necessary manpower to defend themselves. The reason behind the destruction of the village I'm not entirely sure, but I believe it is because when Konoha left the village without any reinforcements, Konoha's enemies wanted the Uzumaki clan and the Terumi clan gone. The Uzumaki clan was extremely powerful, but they lacked the numbers that most clans had. The Terumi clan not many people know of, but they broke off from the Uzumaki clan and became the friends or guardians of the Uzumakis. Every time a child was born they were given the opposite gender as a friend whom they would later marry. For you, I believe you had a guardian who was 6 or 7 years older than you. I'm not entirely sure, I do remember her name was May or something like that. Your mother Kushina set up the marriage to the only young female Terumi left, as the Terumi clan fought alongside the Uzumaki clan in the defense of Uzushiogakure," Kyuubi explained. "Toussaint, do you know if this woman I was to marry is alive?" Naruto asked curiously. "Sochi, I guess we can check, but I'm not entirely sure," Kyuubi stated. Naruto nodded and focused chakra into his legs and sprinted off to Uzushiogakure. Hokage's office. "Jiraiya, calm down," Sarutobi yelled. "Sarutobi-sensei, Naruto-kun is out there, I know it. I got a tip from a spy in Kumo that a blonde-haired boy, with whisker marks, and blue eyes left just 2 weeks ago and headed off. Please, I beg you, give me 2 months to go and try to find him," Jiraiya pleaded. Sarutobi looked on sadly. "Jiraiya, do you not remember what happened last time? You almost killed yourself at the end of the search because you couldn't find him," Sarutobi whispered sadly. "Please Sarutobi-sensei, just give me this one more chance. If I can't find him I'll give up," Jiraiya whispered back, sad at the thought of giving up on his godson. "Fine Jiraiya, but if you don't find I want you back in 2 months exactly," Sarutobi demanded. Jiraiya said a quick hi and shunshined out of the Hokage's office and headed out to Kumo. 1 week later, Naruto was entering the remains of Uzushiogakure. "Alright Toussaint, where should I go?" Naruto asked. "I'll send you directions because if I remember right, then their Azukage Tower is in the center of their village," Kyuubi stated as he sent Naruto a mental map of the village. Naruto walked throughout the village, noticing some skeletons were still on the sides of the roads from the destruction of the village about 20 years ago. After some time walking, the streets came to a building that was mostly intact. It had multiple holes in the roof and in the walls, but was by far the best in shape. Entering the building that he realized was the Azukage Tower, found his way to a flight of stairs. Following the stairs he came to a door that read Azukage, but what was strange was that the door looked absolutely new. Looking closer, Naruto noticed what looked to be a very complicated blood seal. "Toussaint, what is this? I can tell it's a blood seal, but it appears to be much more complicated than just the simple blood seals you had me make," Naruto asked. "Ah, very good Sochi. The seal you see is something called a blood chakra seal. The seal indicates how fresh the blood is by indicating how much chakra is in the blood. Once the blood is 10 seconds old, it starts to lose the chakra that once coursed through it. I'm guessing that once the Azukage realized the village was going to be attacked, he put the seal on his office door, so only his clan or close relatives of the clan can open it. If I remember correctly, the last Uzumaki was an Uzumaki, so give it a shot. Kyuubi explained. Naruto smiled at the intelligence of the Uzumaki and bit his thumb, then pushed his thumb on the seal. The door began to shake and creak, slowly opening to show the untouched office of the Uzumaki. Naruto entered the room and saw a podium with a rolled-up scroll on it. Walking up to the scroll, Naruto saw the same seal, so wiped his fresh blood on the seal and it began to glow, then slightly opened. Unraveling the scroll, Naruto was happy to see the scroll was addressed to any Uzumaki clan survivors. It read, "Dear Uzumaki survivors, I am sad to say that if you're reading this, then I'm most likely dead along with the village destroyed. I hope that there are members of the Uzumaki or our sister clan, the Terumi, still alive. I am deeply saddened at the fact that I am forced to write this letter, but know that our clan was a once great power, that all villages wished for us to arrange marriages into their villages so they could get a branch of the Uzumaki clan. On this scroll I have put the Terumi's and the Uzumaki's most powerful jutsus and fuinjutsus. There is a vault behind the picture behind my desk. It has the most sacred possessions and weapons along with the rest of the library of jutsus and fuinjutsus of the Uzumaki and Terumi clan. Know that I have put a fuinjutsu on the vault. It will show all that I saw through the day we were attacked. I wanted to show what happened and why it happened. I hope the jutsus will service you well and that you will resurrect our once mighty clan. Good luck. Azuka Jirashi Uzumaki, father of Kushina Uzumaki, head of the Uzumaki clan. Naruto smiled at reading his grandfather was the last Uzukage of Uzushiogakure. Unraveling the scroll all the way, Naruto saw that there were indeed jutsus and fuinjutsus on the bottom. Pocketing the scroll so he could later study them, he walked over to the picture, taking the picture of what Naruto could guess as his Jiji. Shaking hands with his adopted Jiji down on the ground, he touched the seal located on the vault. Naruto was thrown to a mixture of memories of the day Uzushiogakure fell and had one emotion flowing through his body: absolute rage. The memories showed the Uzukage talking with an Anbu commander known as Danzo. Danzo told Arashi that they were leaving and that the peace treaty was being nulled and void. Arashi pleaded with Danzo, telling him that they would be attacked and that they couldn't survive, but Danzo laughed and just continued to leave. In the next 10 hours Arashi had sent Kushina out of the village to Konoha so she would be able to live. Sifting through Arashi's memories, he saw dead bodies of his clansmen littering the street. Blood spraying everywhere around the village as Iwa with 10,000 shinobi fought against the remaining 2,000 shinobi of Uzushiogakure. Naruto was proud as he saw the rest of his clansmen were fighting with all they had, and through Arashi's eyes Naruto saw that all of his clansmen were fierce shinobi that could handle most anyone. Dwindling the 10,000 Iwa shinobi down to 3,000 with Arashi the last one standing on the battlefield. Naruto saw as Arashi did an ultimate technique called Uzumaki style. Sacrifice of the whirlpool. Pushing all of his chakra into the jutsu, he managed to absolutely decimate the Iwa shinobi forces from 3,000 to a mere few hundred. Laying on the ground with his eyes slowly closing, Naruto saw the last moments of his Jiji's life, and he could say that his Jiji was somebody that you didn't want to mess with. Naruto continued to replay the memory of his clansmen slaughtered on the ground, over and over and over again until Naruto couldn't take it anymore and stopped thinking about it altogether. Naruto reached out and pulled the safe open. Inside was 3 containment scrolls. They are top quality scrolls in which can hold approximately 300 items. Naruto grabbed all 3 scrolls and pocketed them as well. Naruto found a necklace that had a piece of paper wrapped around it. Belonged to the Azuka Jirashi Uzumaki. I hope an Uzumaki will wear this with pride. Naruto grabbed the necklace and tied it around his neck. It was a beautiful oceanic sapphire, with emeralds surrounding it. I will make my clan proud, I swear it. Naruto thought with conviction. Azukage's office. Sochi. I'm here if you want to talk about it. Kyuubi stated sadly. Naruto, who was currently walking out of the Azukage tower, looked around and fell to his knees. To-san, why did the leaf abandon us? My clan was slaughtered. They were all slaughtered. I may be the only living Uzumaki. I saw them die over and over and over again. I saw my clansmen die. Women, children, girls, boys, men, women, it didn't matter the age or gender. Why would they kill all of my clan? Why did Konoha abandon them? Why To-san, why? Naruto asked while he fell on his butt and started to cry. Naruto looked around and he could still see bloodstains on some of the ruins. Sochi, I can't give you a reason for either of those two questions. But what I can give you is power to exact your revenge against Danzo. I can make you the most powerful shinobi to have ever walked the elemental lands, to bring your clan retribution against Danzo. Kyuubi said. Naruto ignored the offer. To-san, if what my real Gigi says is true then. That would mean Hokage Gigi made the order to abandon the clan. Naruto spoke, while burying his face within his hands crying. All of them, dead, they're dead, they're dead, they're dead. All of my family, my clan, even if I didn't know them now I'll never get the chance to. They're dead, Naruto repeated. Kyuubi, who was growing worried for his kid, was starting to understand why he had replayed the memories over. Kid, I understand that you wanted to see your clan, but don't you think seeing them get killed right after was an unwise way to see them? Kyuubi asked. Naruto remained quiet for a few minutes, rising abruptly, wiping the tears from his face, started to run full speed back to Konoha. Sochi, what are you doing? Kyuubi asked. I'm going to go kill Danzo and then the Hokage. I'm going to make them wish they never crossed the Uzumaki clan. Naruto screamed aloud, with hate and rage being the most detectable emotions in his words. Like mother like son, huh? Kyuubi whispered to himself before continuing. Kit, your mother reacted the same exact way upon hearing about her clan's demise and how Konoha just backed out. Kushina found out about a seal that your Gigi made that allowed her to see his memories from anywhere, and when those memories she went into a rage and attacked Sarutobi at his secret training ground on top of the Hokage monument. After hours of fighting, Sarutobi asked why she had attacked him, and your mother's fit of rage screamed out that he had ordered the withdrawal of Konoha's forces, in which allowed her clan to be slaughtered. Sarutobi asked what she meant, and upon telling him Sarutobi attacked Danzo. Danzo lost the use of his arm and lost his eye because of Sarutobi that day. I bet it's safe to say Sarutobi had no idea that Konoha had actually withdrawn from the battle before it had began. From what I remember, your mother forgave Sarutobi after about the millionth time Sarutobi begged for forgiveness. So if your mother believed Sarutobi didn't know of the betrayal of Whirlpool's and Leaf's alliance, then you should too. Kyuubi stated. Naruto slowed down, but started right up again. It matters not, I'll still kill Danzo. Naruto yelled again, with rage and hate seeping into his voice. Kyuubi sighed. Kit, Hisoka and I have only trained you in the physical and the chakra control aspect of a shinobi's life. Sure, you might be as fast as a Junin and have as much stamina as 2 Kages, but that doesn't mean you have the skill to take a Junin or Kage down. You would be killed by a Chunin easily. I would be willing to bet you could beat most genin because of your speed, stamina, and ability to dampen the sound you create using your chakra control, but that can only take you so far. Hisoka and I are going to train you in ninjutsu, taijutsu, genjutsu, fuinjutsu, kenjutsu, and how to properly use your doujime. That is only if you will not attack Danzo until we deem you are ready. That is for the action and for the repercussions it will cause. Kyuubi stated with a voice that gave no room for negotiations. Naruto, who was now in the middle of a forest, tired and emotionally drained, nodded and collapsed. The memory of his grandfather using the Uzumaki style sacrifice of the whirlpool jutsu and then dying from chakra exhaustion replaying in his mind over and over again. The last thing he saw before he allowed sleep to take him was a woman who appeared nearly 15 years old with long beautiful auburn hair who was smiling. Kumogakure, 1 week after Naruto left. Damn, people so tight-lipped. Jiraiya thought to himself as he walked the streets of Kumo after sneaking his way in. Jiraiya had been paying attention to anybody who was talking about a little blonde boy, and it seemed a lot of citizens and ninja alike were talking about a boy that fit the description of Naruto. It was something about how the boy had 3 lovely young ladies after him, or how he was too young to be kissing. Jiraiya felt pride when he heard he had kissed 3 young ladies, all in front of the others. That's my boy. Jiraiya mentally cheered whenever he heard that particular piece of information. As Jiraiya was walking, he noticed a group of young women who all looked like the semi-description that he had gotten about the girls the boy had kissed, sitting around a table laughing. Deciding to walk up to the group to see if the 3 girls were who he thought they were, was suddenly forced to dodge a kunai whipped at his head. What the hell? Jiraiya managed to think before the 3 girls he saw laughing suddenly get up and stomp over to him. Hey pervert, if you're done starring at US, would you mind leaving? One of the girls shouted who had dark skin while the other two who were blonde just nodded in agreement. Jiraiya laughed. Excuse me? I was just going to ask you some questions, I didn't mean to make it appear I was staring at you. To tell you the truth, I was trying to decide if you were the girls who kissed the blonde boy. Jiraiya told them truthfully. All three of them blushed at the same exact time. That was just a goodbye kiss. All three of the girls shouted at the same time. Jiraiya grinned. Now knowing these were the girls he was indeed looking for, now got to business. Could you tell me where he is? I have been looking for him since he was reported as dead back at my village. Jiraiya asked. All of the girls' eyes grew cold as they stared Jiraiya down. Why would you want to know where Naruto-kun is? A girl with long blonde hair asked. Jiraiya suddenly appeared before them and wrapping them all up in a hug, starting jumping up and down, screaming for joy. Placing them all down, to which he got some scarred looks from the three, was suddenly tackled by a very muscular man. Yugito-chan, Samui-chan, Karui-chan, are you alright? B asked. The three girls nodded. B-sensei, this man wants to know about Naruto. Karui stated. B's eyes narrowed at the men, until he realized who he had attacked. Uh-oh, B thought. Please forgive me, Jiraiya-sama. I didn't know it'd be you. Do not stop your shipment of the precious art you supply this village with. B said comically as he got down on his knees and begged. Jiraiya got up and smiled widely. Ah, I see I have a lover of my art. Do not worry, I will not stop the shipments to Kumogakure. I only wish to know about Naruto Uzumaki. Jiraiya stated as he helped B back to his feet. Quote, exclamation mark, quote. B shouted, not even recognizing anything besides Jiraiya saying he wouldn't stop his shipments. Again, why do you want to know about Naruto-kun? Yugito asked. Jiraiya smiled sadly. Because I'm his godfather. Like I said, I have been looking for him since he was announced as dead back in my village. Jiraiya told them. Karui lost her cool. You old fool. Naruto had nobody growing up and you, his godfather, couldn't take of him. Do you have any idea how bad his life was because of what he contains? Karui asked. Jiraiya's eyes widened. How do you know about what he contains? Jiraiya asked suspiciously. He told us, or it's more like I confronted him about it the day we all met. Yugito replied. Flashback. Day after Naruto arrived in Kumo. Yugito-chan, Samui-chan. I have somebody I want you to meet. A yelled in his house. Yugito, Samui, and Karui all came running down the stairs. I thought I just called Yugito-chan and Samui-chan? I asked with a smile. I didn't want to be left there all alone, Hokage-sama. Karui answered with a sheepish smile. I nodded and took all of the girls to the living room. This is who I wanted you to meet. Samui-chan, Yugito-chan, Karui-chan, I would like you to meet Naruto Uzumaki, I said. All the girls stared at the young 6-year-old who was standing in the middle of the living room with a huge smile. Hi, you all know my name, so what's yours? Naruto asked. Yugito answered first. I'm Yugito ni, it's nice to meet you, Naruto. I'm Samui ni, it's nice to meet you, Naruto. Samui said. I'm Karui, it's nice to meet you, Naruto. Karui said. Naruto nodded. Well, it's nice to meet you all as well. I'm glad that I'm going to be having some friends, now that I'm living here. Naruto said with a huge smile threatening to split his face. The three girls' jaws dropped. Samui and Yugito turned to their adoptive Tusan. What does he mean he's living here now? Samui and Yugito both screamed, glaring at A. While this was happening, Karui walked up to Naruto and examined him. What's up with these? Karui asked while rubbing a finger over his whisker marks. To Karui's shock and amusement, Naruto started to purr. Ah, that's so cute. Karui shouted, breaking the girls out of their glaring contest with their Tusan. Samui and Yugito both turned to look at what Karui was talking about and saw she was rubbing his Naruto's face. Curious, they walked up and looked at what she was doing. Karui, why are you rubbing Naruto's face? Yugito asked. Just look, he has whisker marks and if you rub them he purrs. Karui yelled. Yugito and Samui both tried it on the cheek Karui wasn't rubbing. So cute. They both yelled when they heard his soft purr turn into a loud one. Naruto was standing still, enjoying the pleasurable feeling that was coursing through his body, starting at his cheeks, that is until it coughed, grabbing everybody's attention. Now if you're all done rubbing Naruto-kun's whiskers, I'll tell you why he's here, stated with an amused gaze as all the girls stopped and blushed out of embarrassment. Good, now then Naruto-kun will be staying with us because he wishes to get some training to become a ninja. Due to certain circumstances we will only train him in the physical aspect and some light chakra control. Now I want all of you girls make him feel like he is at home. Stated with smile. All the girls smiled back and nodded in acceptance. Okay girls, I'll be going. I have to get back to the office. Said while frowning. Goddamn paperwork. Screamed in thought. Kitten, this boy is different. He has chakra that I haven't felt in a long time. Ask him about the kyuubi. I doubt he even knows that he's the container for the most powerful biju. Nibi said. Yugito was a little shocked by her biju's accusation. No way is this little kid the Jinchuriki for the most powerful biju in the world. Yugito thought. Naruto, what do you know of the kyuubi? Yugito asked. Naruto's eyes hardened and instead of the warmth it held now all you could see was a frozen wasteland. Why do you want to know? Naruto asked warily. Yugito, Samui and Karui were all shocked at how quickly Naruto's personality changed. I only wished to know because my biju said that she felt Kyuubi's chakra. She stated you were the Jinchuriki for him. Oh, were the intelligent words that escaped Naruto's mouth. Oh, so what do you know about him? Are you the container or what? Yugito asked curiously. Hey, Tou-san. Why didn't you tell me Yugito was the container of a biju? Naruto yelled in thought. Kit, sorry I was testing to see if you could sense Nibi's demonic chakra. Go ahead, tell her you know about me. Kyuubi said. Naruto nodded. Yeah, I know all about the kyuubi. You could say we have an odd relationship. Naruto stated, his eyes holding warmth once more. All the girls let out a breath that didn't realize that had been holding. What do you mean by that and why did you so defensive? Samui asked. Naruto visibly saddened, his shoulders slumping forward as he replied. The first question I will not answer because he does wish it to be revealed. As for the second question, I do not really want to talk about it either. Yugito got the meaning. You were treated badly, weren't you? Glared at, isolated, not allowed in stores, hated by mostly everybody. Yugito stated rather than asked. Naruto smiled. If that's what. Naruto trailed off still with a smile planted on his face. The three girls stared at the blonde, not really understanding. Yugito was getting irritated by his smiling. What are you smiling at? You had better treatment than me and you think it's funny. Is that it? Yugito yelled furiously. Naruto's smile lessened. Wordlessly he began to take off his shirt. This is what I meant by the smile. Naruto replied with no emotion. All the girls saw an extremely skinny boy who had scars all over his body. The most notable scar was right above his heart that said, Demon Brat. I did not mean to anger you, I'm sorry. Naruto said as he put his shirt back on and started to walk towards the door to go outside. Yugito grabbed Naruto's hand and pulled him into a hug with some tears threatening to spill out. Naruto was first shocked at her action, but soon responded by tightly hugging her. The other girls got into the hug. I'm so sorry, Yugito whispered. Naruto's response was to hug even tighter. We promise that we'll be by your side, Samui said as the other girls nodded. Naruto smiled and replied, thank you. Kyuubi was watching the interaction with a smile. Glad the kid finally has some humans his own age that care for him. Kyuubi thought to himself. Flashback end. Ever since then all four of us were great friends and that kiss was just a goodbye kiss. Yugito yelled. I don't know Yugito-chan, for all of you girls it seemed that it was more than just a goodbye kiss between friends. Yugito, you got mad when Samui kissed Naruto. So you went back and kissed him on the lips and Samui and Karui just went straight for his lips. That reminds me, you are all too engaged in such activities. I do not want to see that again until you are all older. Do I make myself clear? B asked. The three girls all blushed and nodded. Jiraiya, who had listened to the story intently, smiled at hearing the ending. I'm glad you girls became friends with him. Jiraiya stated. Okay, so why did you pick all of us up and act all crazy? Karui asked. Well, Naruto was reported dead 3 years ago and I have been looking for him since then. I got a lead that a boy that matched the description of Naruto left Kumo and so I came here. Then I hear 3 girls kissed him goodbye and got some of their description. I find these 3 lovely young ladies and when you told me his name I just kinda lost it, sorry. Jiraiya said sheepishly. It's fine, but to be truthfully honest we don't know where Naruto is. He told us he would go back to Konoha in 3 more years and that he expects us to be at the Chunin exams to watch him. Yugito said. Jiraiya smiled. Good, I'll keep looking for him. Thanks for telling me Naruto is still alive. Jiraiya said as he walked away, leaving a wrapped present in front of B. B bent down and picked the item up, addressed to B. B opened the package and gasped. Yeah, B screamed. ICHAICHA. PARIDISE Limited Author Signed Edition. B yelled as he disappeared. The 3 girls all sweat dropped and walked away quickly. With Naruto, present time. Naruto awoke feeling warm and the ground beneath him soft. Man, this is some comfortable ground. Naruto spoke aloud, getting some giggles from an area right next to his bed. Naruto opened his eyes and looked around, seeing he was in a room. The room had 2 windows, a bed, 2 dressers, a closet, and 2 people. Hello. Naruto said. Hello, how are you feeling? The woman that Naruto saw before he passed out asked. Perfectly fine, may I ask who you are? Naruto asked. I'm Mei Terumi, and who are you? Mei asked. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, why am I? MNPM. Naruto asked until he was glomped by the teenage woman in front of him. I thought you were dead. Mei whispered as she tightened her hug and had her head on Naruto's chest. Naruto was scared from her reaction to his name. Tu-san. Why is this woman hugging me? Naruto asked. Kid, you need to remember things better. What did I say about how the Terumi clan had a guardian system with the Uzumaki clan? Kyuubi asked. Well, you said that the clan would pair newborn children with each other and make them grow together, only to find out that it was an arranged marriage. Where are you going? Oh, I get it. Naruto said, causing Kyuubi to sweat drop. Stupid Sochi. Kyuubi said to himself. Hey Tu-san, I heard that. Naruto yelled, while Kyuubi just ignored him. Mei-chan, are you okay? Naruto asked, causing said girl's head to raise, showing Naruto the tears that were falling freely down her face. I thought you were dead, I was told you died. Mei said as she leaned up and kissed Naruto deeply, causing Naruto to freak out. Naruto pulled back. Whoa Mei-chan, I'm only 9. Naruto said as stared at the still crying girl laying on him. Mei looked sheepishly down. I'm sorry, I just got carried away. Mei replied, causing Naruto to feel bad. It's Mei-chan, I just wasn't expecting to be kissed like that at my age. Now if you would please explain to me where I'm at and how you found me. Naruto asked. Mei nodded, moving her body to the side of and rested her head on his chest. Naruto unconsciously played with her hair, causing Mei to smile. Well, I was at the Uzushio ruins because I was remembering trying to get a picture of where my clan lived before we were forced to leave. I saw you enter the Azukage Tower, and when you came out you collapsed crying, then you took off before I could talk to you. I heard you screaming about how you were going to kill the Hokage and a man named Danzo. Why? Mei asked. I encountered a seal in the Azukage's office. It showed me the memories of the Azukage to what seemed like a 24-hour period. I saw the betrayal of Uzushiogakure by Konohagakure, the fight between Uzushio and Iwa, the last jutsu my grandfather ever used, and how he killed thousands of Iwa shinobi with said jutsu. The jutsu is a sacrificial jutsu where he sacrificed himself. It creates a massive whirlpool that sucks the enemies into it with such force that it crushes their body. I also saw my clan die over and over and over again. Women, children, it didn't matter to them. They slaughtered everybody in the village that they could. The reason why I was screaming was because I found out that Danzo, somebody who used to be the commander of a section of the Leaf Shinobi army, backed out of Uzushiogakure, leaving them with very few shinobi to defend themselves with. I was rash when I said I wanted to kill the Hokage. He apparently had nothing to do with it, and upon finding out he crippled Danzo, I wished to take that a step further and killed Danzo to bring vengeance to my clan. Naruto explained while he stared Mei directly in the eyes. Mei nodded, understanding. Naruto-kun, let me help you. I'm going to become your wife in a few years, so I wish to back up my future husband. Mei said with a smile. Wait, why would you still wish to become my wife? I know that you were to be my guardian, but why would you still want to become my wife? I mean, it's not like you would have a hard time getting the attention of any male that you were interested in. Naruto stated. Did Kyuubi tell you that I was going to be your guardian? Mei asked, shocking Naruto. Yes, he did. How did you know I was the container for Kyuubi? Naruto asked back. Kushina-sama told me before her birth that you were to become the container for the kyuubi. She explained everything to me. How you aren't the demon and just the jailer. After your father sealed kyuubi inside you, I was told that you had died from the sealing process by an old man and woman claiming to be village elders. I was in shock and I left the village with my mother and father. We were the only Terumis left, and since you were the last Uzumaki we had nobody to follow or be loyal to, so we moved to Kirigakure, and now that I know you are alive, I wish to be your wife just like I was supposed to be. Mei stated with another smile. Mei-chan, I truly don't think you want to be involved with me at all. Not after you find out what I will become. Naruto said while lowering his head. What are you talking about, Naruto-kun? I know you aren't a demon. Mei said while putting her finger under Naruto's chin and slowly lifting it. That's where you wrong, Mei-chan. Naruto whispered. I don't believe you. Kushina-sama told me that you were not a demon. Mei whispered back. Naruto sighed. If only you knew. Naruto thought. Thanks, Mei-chan. It's good to hear that some people don't believe I'm a demon. Naruto replied with a smile. Mei smiled back and snuggled closer to Naruto, causing Naruto to smile. Mei-chan, don't you think you're a little too comfortable around me? I mean, we just met. Naruto asked. We were going to and are going to be married, so sorry if it bothers you, but you better get used to it. Mei said with a smile. My Sochi sure gets lucky with woman. Kyuubi thought to himself. If you really still want to get married like we were supposed to, then I won't go against it. So where are we? Naruto asked. Mei smiled brightly. We're in a home in Uzushiogakure that survived the assault. It belonged to the head of the Uzumaki clan. Can we just stay like this for a while? I want to get to know my fiancé. Mei said while pulling her head off Naruto's chest and staring into his deep electric blue eyes. Naruto nodded. I would like that. Naruto said while staring back into Mei's green eyes. Time skip, 1 month. Mei-chan, do you really have to leave? Naruto asked sadly. Mei sadly nodded. Yes, Naru-kun. I was just supposed to be here for 2 weeks, not a month. I'll see you again, thought. After all, you are my fiancé, Mei said with a smile while she wrapped Naruto up in a hug. Mei-chan, I'm going to miss you. Naruto whispered as he hugged Mei back fiercely. I'll miss you too, Naru-kun. Mei whispered back as she kissed him on the cheek. Releasing the hug, Mei began her walk back to Kirigakure. To-san, now what am I supposed to do? Naruto asked as he watched the retreating form of his fiancé. Kit, now we start training. Kyuubi said while he smiled sadistically. Naruto could practically feel his To-san's smile in the back of his mind. Oh, this is gonna be bad. Sochi, give me a second, I'm going to find your affinities. Kyuubi said as he reached into Naruto's chakra reserves and took a small portion of it, pushing some of his own chakra into the small portion that he took of Naruto's chakra. The chakra split into 5 parts, each part turned into a different element. The elements arranged themselves to show which were Naruto's first, secondary, and etc. affinities. I don't believe this. God damn, my Sochi is a genius, Kyuubi yelled excitedly. What? Why am I a genius? Is something wrong? Naruto asked, scared. No, Sochi, everything's alright. You're a genius because you have an affinity for every primary affinity. They are all incredibly strong as well. Your strongest are wind, fire, and water. Your secondary affinities are earth and lighting. You have the potential to become the first to actually master all of the affinities. Kyuubi said as he was in complete and utter shock. What are you talking about, To-san? Don't lie to me. I know a few people have mastered all of the elements before. Naruto said, annoyed at his To-san lying to him. You're Kit to a degree. What I'm talking about is you truly being a master at these elements. You see, people can use all of the elements with enough training. When I say enough training, I mean years upon years of training only using that element. These people can master this element to a degree. The elements they don't have an affinity for, or they don't have a strong enough affinity, they need to call out the jutsus they use. For you, all of your affinities are strong enough so you don't have to call out the jutsu and just say it in your mind. Also, your strongest elements with enough, you will be able to simply call out the jutsu in your mind and it will appear. Of course, doing this will also take slightly more chakra, but I'm sure with your crazy chakra reserves you won't need to worry about that. Kyuubi said while giving a smile that held pride. To-san, if I won't need to call out my jutsus, then why was it whenever I would watch Samui-chan and her team train with Ojisanbi they would have to call out jutsus? Naruto asked. Sochi, having strong enough affinities to actually master the element to a point where you won't have to call out the jutsu is extremely rare. I mean extremely rare. I would bet only 100 people from each generation having a strong enough affinity to master their element to a degree where they no longer need to call out their jutsus, and here my Sochi has all 5 affinities to such a degree that is unheard of. Kyuubi said once again with a prideful smile. Naruto was excited. This means you teach me a bunch of jutsus, right? Naruto asked. I'll teach you quite a few jutsus for each element. I will only allow you to get to about high Junin level by the time we get back to Konoha. I don't want you becoming so strong that you outrank anybody in Konoha by the time we get back, and with my and Hisoka's training that will be quite possible by the time we get back. Kyuubi explained. Then again, Hisoka Nichan could train Naruto behind my back. Kyuubi thought, but then dismissed it. He wouldn't go behind my back. Right? Kyuubi thought, asked himself. Meanwhile with Hisoka. Yes, I get to finally teach my nephew. Hisoka yelled out, frightening Kami and Yami, his 2 twin sisters. Oh shit. Hisoka said to himself as his 2 sisters proceeded to beat him for scaring them. Oh come on, don't you want your nephew and chosen one for the prophesy to get trained by a god? Hisoka asked, trying to get out of the beating. Back with Naruto. So San, you finally gonna tell me what my dojutsu actually does? Naruto asked. Kyuubi chuckled at his forgetfulness. Yeah, sorry about that Sochi. Your dojutsu, the Doujime, is the base for the Sharingan, Byakugan, and the Rinnegan. Your dojutsu is a much more powerful version of all 3. Think of your dojutsu as the ultimate dojutsu. It allows you to see the deep hidden tenketsus of the human body that can instantly kill or knock out the opponent instead of just cutting off the chakra. Don't get me wrong, Byakugan wielders can kill or knock out their opponents by targeting the tenketsus, but you will be able to visibly see the deep hidden tenketsus that will allow you to make your opponent's body overflow with chakra, completely shut off the chakra, or put their chakra as stasis, making them pass out. Like I said, Byakugan wielders can do this also, but they must hit almost every tenketsu in the human body, where you will only have to hit a couple hidden tenketsus. Onto the Sharingan. Your dojutsu is a vastly improved Sharingan. It allows you to copy, calculate, and predict your opponent's movement just like the Sharingan, but to an even greater detail. Also, when you get to the last stage of your dojutsu, you won't have to kill your best friend to unlock it. Upon unlocking the base of the Sharingan, you will unlock the power similar to the Rinnegan. Once you unlock that power, you will be able to, much like the Rinnegan, control gravity, able to make secondary and tertiary elements. The Rinnegan requires you to train to use the secondary and tertiary elements, but with the Doujime it will act as if you have the bloodlines for the secondary or tertiary elements, making it extremely easy for you to use them no matter how rare the element is. But then again, with how strong your elements are, I would guess you could even make some of the secondary or maybe even tertiary elements even without unlocking that power of your dojutsu. Anyways, once you unlock that power, your eye will change. I'm sure what it will look like, since Hisoka Nichan never told me. But knowing him, it will probably look absolutely amazing, as he tends to go all out on appearance. Anyways, once your eye changes, you will have to unlock 3 more levels to finally master your dojutsu. I will tell you what you will gain when you unlock those levels. When you unlock the last level of the base of the Sharingan. I know, very long process, but with Hisoka and I you should be able to master it around the time you're 16 or 17. Kyuubi told Naruto. Naruto, who had moved to a tree and sat down with his back resting against the tree, was confused at something. San, if what you said is true and that the Doujime is the base for all 3 of these legendary dojutsus, then how has my dojutsu never been activated before, but all of the others have? Naruto asked. Ah, very perceptive Sochi. The reason for the other dojutsus being activated is that Hisoka Nichan created them. Taking a piece of his master dojutsu and creating 3 separate dojutsus, he wanted to see how they all worked in real life separately before allowing somebody to activate his masterpiece. Needless to say, the Doujime has been up for grabs for thousands of years now, but nobody has had the requirements to get it. Kyuubi explained. So did I just get this dojutsu because I'm the nephew of the creator? Naruto asked. Kyuubi laughed. No Sochi, I have already explained the requirements to you. This dojutsu is only to be activated by person and his descendants if they are strong even to hold the dojutsu. Kyuubi said. Naruto nodded. Alright San, what are we going to do now? Naruto asked another question. Kyuubi smiled sadistically again. Why, it's time to start your taijutsu training. Muahahahahahaha muhahaha. Kyuubi said while cackling crazily. Oh shit, this is not going to be good, is what went through Naruto's mind as he heard his father laughing like he was crazy. Time skipped 2 years. Glad I taught him that Kage Bunshin or we would have never gotten to this part. Hisoka thought to himself as he looked around his training field up in heaven only to see 1,000 Narutos all with Uzumaki clan jutsu scrolls. Naruto-kun, I think it's time you open the final scroll that you got from the Uzumaki vault. Hisoka said as he eyed the Naruto in front of him breathing hard from his kenjutsu training. No, I will not open my Jiji's personal sword scroll until I'm at Junin level in kenjutsu. Naruto said while glaring at his Oja-san. Damn Oja-san, been trying to get me to open that scroll up since I started learning kenjutsu. Naruto thought to himself. Listen Naruto-kun, you are at Junin level in kenjutsu and I just want you to unseal that scroll so I finally give you something I have been wanting to give you for a very long time. Hisoka stated. I agree Naru-kun, you are definitely Junin level in kenjutsu. Kami said while staring at her favorite person. Kami was an extremely beautiful woman. Long white silky hair that traveled to her ankles, white piercing eyes, a curvaceous body with creamy pale skin, and double D breasts. She would definitely be getting some lust-filled gazes if she were to go to Konoha or any town. Okay, if Ka-chan believes I'm Junin level I'll unseal Jiji's scroll. Naruto said as he walked over to his jacket as he was only wearing a black muscle shirt at the moment. Naruto searched through his jacket's pockets until he found the scroll he was looking for. Walking back over to his Oja-san he bit his thumb and wiped it over the blood seal that was on the scroll. The seal glowed a deep blue and out popped a 2.5-foot long katana. Grabbing the sword Naruto examined it. The sword sheath was a deep blue with a snow-white Uzumaki clan symbol near the top of the sheath. Looking down at the handle of the sword Naruto saw white and deep blue spiraling from the bottom to the top of the handle. Looking at the hilt he saw 2 dragons who looked to be fighting. One was a deep blue, while the other was a snow white. Taking the sheath off Naruto gasped at the beauty of the sword. The metal was pure white with deep blue mixed in giving the blade a look as if a moving wave was coming to crash down. Beautiful, Naruto whispered. Naruto took experimental swings with his Jiji's sword. That is a very beautiful sword Naru-kun. Kami said as she watched Naruto swing the sword doing his kenjutsu's katas. Perfect for what I have planned. Naruto, come here a moment, I have something for you. Hisoka said as he took out a huge scroll and unraveled it revealing nothing to be written on. Walked over to his Oja-san and examined the scroll. Naruto-kun, do you remember the Fox contract that you signed nearly 5 years ago? Hisoka asked. Naruto nodded. I remember, even if you or Tusan still haven't taught me how to summon even after 5 years. Naruto yelled. Hisoka chuckled while rubbing the back of his head. Sorry, must have slipped my mind. Anyways, I created this summoning contract for you. It allows you to summon me. This summoning contract will only be allowed in your family and you must make sure that your children or wife or whatever knows that they must never tell anybody they have such a powerful contract. Hisoka said while handing the scroll over to Naruto. Naruto nodded and proceeded to sign the contract. When he was done he handed the contract back to Hisoka. Good, now then I'll teach you how to summon me and I will give you a surprise. First though I must tell you what you get with this contract. This contract allows you to resurrect people. But first you must kill somebody that is evil and collect their soul. I will teach you how to collect their soul. Upon collecting their soul you will summon me and I will exchange the person's soul you wish to resurrect for the soul you collect. You also must not tell anybody that you can resurrect people because that will get very ugly very fast. Understand? Hisoka asked. Kami, who had been sitting back, was now smiling. Well, Oto, I think you made a very choice for your first summoner. Only my Naru-kun could handle that power. Kami said with a smile. Naruto blushed while Hisoka smirked. Ah, does the great Kami have a crush on Naruto? Hisoka teased, making Kami blush. Shut up, Kami demanded. Hisoka kept smirking. Yeah. Anyways, Naruto, do these hand seals and call out Kachiyose no Jutsu. Hisoka summons. Hisoka said. Naruto repeated the hand seals and called out, Kachiyose no Jutsu. Hisoka summons. There was a massive poof and a bunch of smoke. Looking around, Naruto didn't see anything different. Oji-san Hisoka, nothing happened. Naruto said. Idiot, that's because I'm already here. I didn't move when you summoned me. Hisoka explained. Hey, don't call me an idiot. Naruto yelled. Shut up or I won't give you this present early. Well, really it's from your Two-san. But I'm gonna give you this present early, Hisoka said as he suddenly started to do a long chain of hand seals Naruto didn't recognize and chanting in a language Naruto didn't understand, but felt he should. Hisoka stopped and there was a blinding light. When the light subsided, there stood in front of him a girl who looked to be his age with long red hair that went to the middle of her back with bangs framing the sides of her face. She already had some curves coming in, B-cup breasts, and oceanic blue eyes. Beautiful, Naruto whispered. The girl looked around bewildered before her eyes settled on Naruto. You bastard, I'll kill you. The girl screamed out as she charged forward faster than Naruto expected. The girl punched Naruto in the gut, sending him flying back. Damn, she can hit, Naruto thought as he landed roughly on the training ground's grass. The girl was upon Naruto within seconds. The girl straddled Naruto's stomach and started to smack Naruto in the face. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. How could you do that, my son? The girl screamed while smacking him after every word. Naruto laid there taking the hits and wondering what the hell was going on. I suggest you stop hitting my Naruto-kun, Kushina, Kami said calmly as she appeared behind the Kushina. Kushina looked down at the boy. Noticing that he was much younger than the bastard she had married and had 3 whisker marks on each cheek, immediately recognized who it was. Naruto-kun? Kushina asked while tears freely fell from her face. Looking back and glaring at Kami, she asked. What do you mean you're Naruto-kun? Kushina asked. Kami glared back. I mean my Naruto-kun. Now get off of your son so we can explain what's going on. Kami stated while still glaring at Kushina. Kushina reluctantly got off of Naruto and pulled him to his feet. Sorry Sochi, Kushina whispered as she enveloped Naruto in a hug. Naruto was dumbfounded. I swear to Kami Oji-san, if this is some job I will find a way to make your life a nightmare. Naruto yelled while hugging back the girl who called him Sochi. Hisoka smiled at the threat. Well, that's not very nice. I just gave you your Ka-san back and you threaten your Oji-san. Maybe I won't give you those super powerful jutsus because of your threat. Hisoka said with a smile planted on his face. Naruto glared at him. Oji-san, shut up and let me enjoy this moment with my Ka-san. I don't care about jutsus right now. Naruto yelled. Hisoka nodded in understanding. Naruto tightened his grip on his Ka-san. After about 10 minutes of the fierce hug, they headed over to Hisoka and Kami, who had went back to her original position. Naruto picked up the sword he had dropped from the assault that Kushina bestowed upon him. Kushina gasped as she recognized the swords. Sochi, how did you get Two-san's sword? Kushina asked. Naruto smiled sadly. I went to the Uzushiogakure ruins about 2 years ago. I visited the Azukage Tower and found a scroll in which had a memory seal where I saw everything in a 24-hour time period through Jiji's eyes. In the scroll he told that there was a safe behind the picture on his wall that had all of the jutsu scrolls of the Uzumaki, but he forgot to mention that his personal sword was sealed in one of the scrolls. Naruto explained. Kushina nodded sadly. Now, are you curious why I brought your mother back and why she's young? Hisoka asked. Naruto and Kushina nodded vigorously. Well, Kyuubi made a deal with me the day he was sealed in you. Giving up some of his tails for the resurrection for Kushina, though he wanted her to be resurrected when you made Genin. I didn't approve of that though, as for the reason why Kushina is so young is because I felt she should grow up with her son. Oh yeah, that's another thing, Naruto-kun. When you resurrect somebody you'll get the choice of how old you wish them to be. Now Kushina, you are back to the skills you had originally when you were this age, which is 11. Hisoka explained. Naruto nodded in understanding, while Kushina stared at Naruto. Explain, Kushina demanded. Naruto, Hisoka, and Kami all explained what had happened while she was dead. Kyuubi just sat in the seal, happy to be able to see his friend Abel. Kushina was ecstatic that she would get to grow up with her son and that he was so powerful at such a young age, but was a little freaked out about how she was in the presence of 2 gods. After Naruto and Kushina, they went back to Uzushiogakure for Naruto to continue training and for Kushina to start again. I know why you changed Kushina's age, Kami said while crossing her arms, not amused. Oh, you mad that you're going to have more competition for Naruto now? Hisoka asked with a smirk, causing Kami to sputter and blush at his accusation. Hisoka laughed outright when he saw the reaction of his accusation. Man, the upcoming years are going to be interesting, Hisoka said aloud. With Kushina and Naruto. So Naruto-kun, how was your childhood? Kushina asked with worry. Naruto chuckled nervously and changed the subject. So why do you hate Minato? Naruto asked curiously. Don't speak his name, I hate that man for what he did to my Sochi. Kushina said with venom dripping from her words. Naruto nodded in understanding. So Kushina-chan, you want to start training? Naruto asked. Why aren't you calling me Ka-san? Kushina asked sadly. I'm sorry, but I grew up alone. I didn't have a mother and I don't really need one anymore. The most I can offer you is friendship and maybe something more. Naruto stated with a smile, causing Kushina to blush. Naruto-kun, even if you don't see me as your mother, we still couldn't be involved like that. Kushina yelled, still blushing furiously. Naruto looked confusedly at Kushina. Kushina-chan, I wasn't saying we could date or become an item, I was just saying something like siblings. Unless you wanted that, Naruto said while staring seriously at Kushina. Kushina sputtered and tried to say a coherent sentence. Ha ha ha, oh man, that was funny, ha 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 ha. You should have seen your face. Naruto stated as he bent over holding his stomach, causing Kushina to start laughing as well from Naruto's infectious laughter. I think I'm going to like growing up with you, Naruto-kun. Kushina said as she caught her breath. Naruto smiled. I'm glad, Kushi-chan, Naruto said. Kushina blushed at the nickname. Oh come on, stop blushing like a schoolgirl, he's your Sochi, you pervert. Still, he's handsome and just look at that body. No bad, pervert, Kushina. Bad, 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 Kushina thought to herself. Time skip 1 year. Two figures walked down the road only 100 yards from Konoha's gates. One was a female. She was 5 feet 1 with long red hair that reached her back with 2 bangs hanging off the side of her face, beautiful oceanic blue eyes. A very curvaceous body for her age, low C-cup bust, beautiful unblemished skin. She was wearing a tight crimson t-shirt that had the Uzumaki symbol on the back in black, with black Anbu-style pants. With her was a boy who appeared to be her age. The boy was 5 feet 4 with golden hair that went past his ears with 2 bangs framing his face. Deep oceanic blue eyes like his female counterpart. 3 what appeared to be whisker marks on each cheek, tanned skin, and a muscular body for his age. The boy was wearing a dark gray trench coat with a crimson 9-tailed fox on the back of it with its tails wrapping around to the front of it. He had on a black muscle shirt underneath that had a crimson Uzumaki symbol on his right breast. He had on dark gray Anbu-style pants. As they walked closer to the village, you could see them holding hands. Kushi-chan, where to first? Naruto asked. Kushina leaned her head on Naruto's shoulder. We'll be going to the Hokage's office first, Naru-kun. Kushina replied. Halt, show me your papers to get entrance. A Chunin gate guard ordered. We don't have any papers, we were wandering merchants with both our siblings who happened to partner up. They were killed and we managed to escape from the bandits who attacked us and now wish to start a new life here. Naruto explained. The Chunin guards smirked as they eyed the Kushina up and down. Well, you can't go in, but the girl can come with us if she wants to know a good time. One of the gate guards said. The area around the guards dropped about 20 degrees. I suggest you let us pass. Naruto said in a very calm voice. Okay, just give us the girl. One of them replied, oblivious to the drop in temperature. I'll give you the count to 3 to let us get into the village and for you to shut your mouths. Naruto replied calmly while his head was down with his bangs hiding his eyes. Brat, don't demand anything of us. We're Chunins of Konoha, you think you can make us do anything? One of the guards asked. 1, Naruto said. This brat is just stupid. A guard said as he walked closer to Naruto and Kushina. 2, Naruto said. Naruto-kun, don't, they aren't worth it. Kushina pleaded. Naruto looked at Kushina and smiled. I won't kill them, but I will rough them up a little. Naruto replied. The guard who had been moving closer to Naruto and Kushina stopped in his tracks. Naruto? You mean Naruto Uzumaki, the demon brat is back? Man, now I'll just take your little girlfriend and then kill you. The guard said as he resumed his pace to Naruto with a huge smile. Kushina visibly paled and let go of Naruto's hand. That was the wrong thing to say. Kushina said as she started to back up, allowing Naruto the room to work. Naruto stood still with his bangs still covering his face. Haha, the demon brat? We used to beat him all the time. I remembered this one time we stabbed him multiple times in the stomach and watched him bleed out for a couple minutes before we left. Man, that was some fun. The guard said, reminiscing. 3. Naruto finished counting. Naruto looked up, showing the guards his hate-filled eyes. I warned you, now I'm going to shut that mouth of yours for you. Naruto calmly explained as he moved forward towards the Chunins. You believe this brat? Well, I'll just have to finish what I started all of those years ago. The guard stated as he took out a kunai. Sprinting forward, the Chunin went in thinking it was going to be easy to kill the brat. Instead, the Chunin was somehow kicked in the ribs, sending him flying back to the other gate guard unconscious. I didn't kill him, he is just knocked out. I suggest you let us pass now. Naruto said as Kushina rejoined him and held his hand again. That was way less destructive than the last time somebody tried to kill you for me. Kushina said sadly. The Chunin guard nodded his head and allowed them to pass, only to have the Hokage land in front of him with a squad of Anbu behind him. GG, it's been a long time. Naruto said as he calmly starred ahead with a smile on his face. I don't know who you are, but you attacked a Chunin of Konoha and therefore you are under arrest. Sarutobi replied angrily. Ah, GG, I'm wounded. Don't you remember your adopted grandson? Naruto asked, faking hurt as he lightly grabbed where his heart would be, causing Kushina to giggle at his antics. Sarutobi took a good long look at the intruder and gasped. Naruto-kun? Is that really you? Sarutobi asked as he moved forward, shocked. Naruto nodded happily. Yeah, GG, it's me. But what is the Hokage doing dealing with two intruders? I mean, don't you have something better to do? Naruto asked curiously. Well, I was bored and out walking with a squad of Anbu protecting me, and I felt a huge source of chakra coming towards Konoha, so I decided to check it out. You should really learn to mask your chakra, Naruto-kun. Sarutobi said with a smile as he embraced Naruto in a hug. Naruto smiled and hugged back. I am GG, trust me, if I wasn't you would know. Naruto said, you know, you're taking my reappearance much better than I thought you would. Naruto said. Sarutobi smiled. I'm just glad to have you back. Now who is this lovely young lady you have here? Sarutobi asked as he released his surrogate grandson from the embrace. Oh, GG, this is Kushina Uzumaki. I found her in Uzushiogakure when I went there to see what happened to my clan. Naruto said as he got behind Kushina and pushed her forward. Kushina played shy and looked down. Kushina? No, it couldn't be. Sarutobi thought to himself. You know Kushina, you remind me of another woman I knew. Always shy, that was until you got to know her. Sarutobi said with a laugh. So Naruto-kun, what is she? Your girlfriend? Sarutobi asked with a lecherous smile. No, arrow, GG, we are just really good friends. Naruto replied back while deadpanning.
I hope you like the video. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe my channel. I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care.